Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. We do this every Thursday night. We hang out with the fellas, and sometimes we have super guests on. It's just the fellas tonight. We're going to talk about broke down vehicles that I have.
Why not?
What's up, guys?
Hey, Lewis.
How's everybody's week? Anything good happening?
Just trying to dry out. We had a lot of rain.
We're getting it tonight. It's actually drizzling already. It's supposed to come in by 10 and into the morning, but
Yeah, it came through here, and we're sending it over to you, Rick.
That's okay.
We're still in the rainy season down here, so it's on and off.
All I know is because of the national supply chain shortage, I can't close my freaking pool because my parts are back ordered.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I had to order a new cover and a closing kit, and it's just like back ordered.
You really take stuff for granted, how much we need stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about that after you left last week.
Oh, yeah.
How the
We
supply
talk about all
chain
the good stuff after you leave, yeah.
the supply chain's down and it's hard to get stuff. And for the first time in our lives, we're actually realizing real time what it's like to live in a foreign country that doesn't have everything we have.
We're subservient. I was telling a buddy today, it was a few years, 5, 8, 10 years ago, my filter went bad. So I had to change it. It was up and running. And I deal with 2 different places that are wholesale, both out of state. And I bought the filter. It's a Hayward. And I didn't pay for extra shipping. So I figured I'll limp this thing through till the new one comes in. And a day and a half, it was here. It was like, I ordered it at night. It was like the next day, or the afternoon came the next day. Then a little while later, the pump went bad. And I was going to rebuild it. I was having trouble getting some parts. So I found a good deal from the same place on a pump with the basket and the motor. And I said, okay, well, that's good for spares. I ordered that. Same thing. It was like a day and a half, 2 days. It was a holiday weekend in the summer. And it came like over the holiday. It was delivered. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And now I can't get a closing kit in the cover, in like 2 months.
Ridiculous.
So they pick and choose. But you know what? You can get everything on Amazon. For some reason, their stuff's stocked.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look there. Yeah.
It still takes forever to get on certain things.
I haven't had any trouble with the stuff I get.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that it's not a perfect world anymore with Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Louis, that guy I sent you the link to from R1 Concepts, the brake place.
I didn't get it. Wait, did you send it?
I emailed it to you.
Oh, let me check.
No one checks their email anymore. This is like the thing. I know Brian is going to be like 3 months out on the stuff I send him.
I check my emails like every other day or so.
Like every 3 days, yeah, because I can tell by how you answer.
I get a bazillion emails, and then like buried in the middle will be a thing from you for like a link to a drum thing, and
right.
I saw the Sopranos deal.
Right, that was just today.
I can't wait to see that movie. That's just going to be phenomenal.
Well, anyway, this place called R1 Concepts. I got turned on to them from the FJ Club online, and they're out in California, and they do high performance brakes. So I bought these high carbon content rotors, drilled, slotted, ceramic pads, the whole 9 yards. I mean, they got here within just a couple of days because I guess they control their own stock from wherever they get it from. So that was good. If you deal with a smaller place, you have a better chance of getting stuff than from a bigger place, I think. But the fellow wants to come on the show, and his schedule is really tight. He's got traveling schedules. He's going to Hawaii. So I think he said he could come on here. I think it was the October 3rd. Yeah. Okay. No, October 3rd is for my show. It'll be Thursday, September 30th here. So that'll be next week.
Okay.
So I sent you. If you don't have the info, just let me know and I'll resend it to you. I'll text it to you or whatever. Because I told him you'd reach out to him and give him the specificities of.
Yeah. Yeah, text it to me because I got wait, let me show you something. You see my inbox?
Yes.
What?
Oh, 30,000 messages?
There's gotta be a 250,000 of them a spam
Dude,
mail.
you gotta delete some of those.
Hey, I'm a popular guy.
It doesn't mean that they're all
Right.
valid.
That's crazy.
I delete more than I read, and I'm
But
doing
wait.
five
That
accounts.
was. Wait a minute. Look at the second one down. I got like 5 emails. Wait a minute.
Can't
Where's
read
that?
it. It's
Yeah,
all
you're
blurry.
like me. Can't see it.
I can see.
Right,
I
there
can't
it
make it out. No, when you
got the same camera I got. That Logitech one.
Yeah.
you light it up, it gets blurry.
I got one. I got a good camera and mic down. I didn't hook up the studio yet.
Yeah.
So once I do that, then I'll have my green screen and my whole
There you
stuff.
go. So speaking about stuff that's hard to get, somebody loves me because something told me to call my guys at National Parts Depot today,
Right.
and I did while I was driving, and I said, I need seat covers for 70 Firebird low back buckets in bright blue, and I need a set of pre-assembled door panels, same color.
Uh-huh.
And the guy goes, damn, you should play the lottery. He goes, we got them both, and there's one left.
Wow.
One set of seat covers and 2 door panels in bright blue to go in that car. I said, here's my card. You got my account.
Send them.
Put my name on them, and I will come pick them up Monday lunchtime. He goes, see you then.
Sweet.
Unbelievable. He says the wait time that they've been told by Legendary Auto and what's that other company that does interiors, like three letters?
AMD is the bumpers. PUI.
TMI.
PUI.
TMI. He's
Okay.
right. TMI. They're saying it's anywhere from 9 to 13 month wait for
Wow.
stuff. That's how screwed up the industry is. So I was saying to myself, man, if they don't have them, at least those seats that I have, they're not ripped, so I could put them in,
Right.
When I called and my sales guy was like, yeah, we have them, and you're getting the last ones.
Nice.
Yeah, sweet.
I was like, take the card, pay for them, put them on the side somewhere. Do not let anyone even look at them.
Did you buy foams too? New foam?
No.
Okay. Because
I didn't
that's
buy foam.
you may find.
My seat guy, the guy that's gonna the upholstery
Okay,
guy.
he can make it. Yeah.
Yeah. He says if the seat foams are crummy, he goes, I can cut foam and glue it in there, and you'll be
Okay. No, I thought for a minute you were going to do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The other thing is yeah, right. I have not been able to. I haven't seen foams for 70 buckets.
Oh, okay.
I've seen foam for tall, high back bucket seats, and I've looked around, and I think it's because there's such limited seats
Right.
that nobody bothered. But the upholstery guy says, don't worry about it. I'll cut new foam if needed.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So one more thing off my list.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a couple of buddies that want me to do their cars. So I got to do a G8 and a Hummer.
G8.
So I'm gonna do the interiors for them. Yep.
Okay.
Trying to expand my horizon.
This guy from R1, he's younger than us. He's a frustrated drummer too. So I told him, oh boy.
Oh, wow.
Well, it fit right in.
I said, you stay for the after show, dude. I said, you're gonna fit right in. He was talking. He's 40 years old, so
Yeah.
but he likes the old stuff, so that was cool. And I just realized I'm
So he
reading
makes custom brakes.
R1concepts.com. Yeah, they well, it's not custom brakes. Like I said, the stuff that I bought is all you could get plain rotors, or you could get drilled, or I bought the drilled and slotted.
Mhm.
The high carbon content. They're silver, like they're not an anodized. They're it's a high carbon content. So you can do the silver or black coating, which is a rust preventative. and then like 4 different levels of brakes. They do a lot of stuff with racing, so you could buy anything from a street pad to a track pad.
Right.
So I went with ceramic because I like the ceramic pads, and he drives a race car. He's got a racer, and okay. I see. I gave you his email address. You want to email him or you want to call him?
I'll email him. Can you text it to me?
I'm good. Yeah. Well, now I got to create the text. Yeah, because
Or when'd you send the email?
On the 20th.
Oh shoot, it's buried.
Yeah,
right.
About 5,000 emails ago.
About 5,000 back. Yeah.
No, you know what? Let me see if I can do this. I'll go in and I'll find it on here on the phone, and then I'll just cut and paste it.
All right. Oh, Jim put it up. That's the website.
The website. I'm going to send you his contact info though.
So Ray, I see you won a trophy a couple weeks ago.
I did.
Tell us about it.
I won the Best Engineering Award at the Malibu Car Show for my Pontiac.
Nice.
And it just so happens, this is the way it goes. I've been a car show judge since the 70s, so my thing is I don't have my car judged because I know what it takes to build one, and I know what it takes to judge one, and I know these guys don't know what it takes to look at one half the times.
Yeah.
Shiny stuff, and that's how they judge. I've trained judges in the different car clubs I've been in. I've taught them, and people don't even want to do it. They're like, I can't judge somebody's car. Oh my God! They get like, listen, dude. It's a simple thing. You're judging the car against this piece of paper, the sheet. The individual has nothing to do with it, And if the guy's a friend of yours, you can step out and have someone else do it. But so the guy who presented the trophy, the guy who runs the show, who gave me that microphone, he happens to know me. So, in fact, he watches this show, and he's usually like texting me or email me during the show because he just doesn't, come on to it.
Yeah.
But he knows every step of the way what I did. So he knows a lot of stuff that you wouldn't know by looking at the car. All the stuff that's kind of, I say, hidden in plain sight. So that might have tainted the choice a little bit. But I'll tell you something. There's plenty of other cars. If I had to pick one, I would have had a hard time picking a car in that show. So yeah, I was definitely
congratulations.
Humbled. It was nice. It was like I told John and Brian. I said, you guys. I said, I've always felt this. If a friend of mine will give me and tell me they like what I did or doesn't like what I did, that to me is my trophy. I don't need a $2 plastic trophy that I'm going to throw away. If a guy I know knows cars, compliments something I did. That's it. That's all I need.
Or even to help somebody figure out something on their vehicle.
Oh yeah. Well, it was funny because a couple of other guys had come over when I was because I was all over the place, and I was talking. They were asking me questions about the car, and then the one guy with a Nova, the guy with a big block Nova, was asking me about suspension and drivability, and I said, "Dude, push on my car." He was like, "Oh, I don't want to touch it." I'm like, "I'm telling you, I'm standing right here. Push on my car. It's okay. It's like you're not going to hurt it." And of course, he pushed on the front. It was like pushing on the desk. It doesn't move. It was like 950 pound per square inch springs in front of that car. He's like, "Wow." He goes, "How's the thing handle?" I'm like, "Well, it'll make right-hand turns. It handles like it's on a rail." So he goes, "Come over here, feel." And he made me push on his Nova, and it was just a little bit softer. But I said, "Yeah, you're there." So we kind of spitballed how to make his car handle better. And the thing is, he's running bigs and littles. I said, "Well, there's your problem." I said, "You hit the rut." Yeah. I mean, not even the little skinny, not even the 4-inch. He's running maybe like 6-inch tires, but still. Yeah. I said, "Yeah, you're going to hit the ruts. You're going to get shoved around." I said, "I'm running a big tire in the front, 245." I said, "So, yeah, I could get caught up with something too, but not as much." So yeah, we kind of and then there was another guy with another Pontiac came over, and we basically went from car to car and just shared the information about how to do things, because that's what you do.
I'll tell you what, every show that I go to, I find something that I've never seen before, and it's just like a light bulb, like, oh, wow.
Yep. That's the best reason to go to a car show is because it's now your Rolodex of things that you never thought about.
Yep.
I can do that in my car and just change this. You know what I'm saying? It could be you could find something from a Mopar and you're working on a Cadillac, you know what I'm saying? And you just change it to, oh, wow, what a great idea. I used to love going to car shows because I would get all kinds of ideas. You know?
I'll tell you this. When I was building the car and I was plumbing the brake system, and I was trying to figure out like where to put the line lock, where to put the residual pressure valve, where to put the pressure regulator. I was at the Syracuse Nationals, and I was taking pictures of guys like brake boosters.
Mm-hmm.
My wife
did the same thing.
I said, I'm taking a picture of the master cylinder. I said, because I'm going to go home and like study this stuff, you know. So yeah,
I have on the computer when I got the black car back. As soon as I got that car back, actually before I got it back, I know how I used to build cars, so that's already here.
Right.
I started downloading photos from websites, from Facebook pages, from posts in different groups, the whole deal, and I put them into a reference file for the Firebird, and I broke it down: chassis, interior, tin work, rear end housings, you know, all of that stuff. And it's all of these folders within a large file on the computer of other people's work. So when I started doing this car, I was rummaging through that, coming up with a different design, because the way I did the roll bar in this thing and supported the frame is like the way they kind of, it's like the way they build pro mods now, but it's missing a boatload of tubes because this isn't a pro mod and it's just a street car. So it's a condensed version of the newest style of chassis, whereas in the old days, you had a hoop, you had two bars. They may have been 5-6 feet long, ran from the main hoop all the way like to the rear bumper, and then you'd put an X brace in.
Right.
Some people still do that, but I mean, we stopped doing that back in the late 80s, early 90s. We stopped doing that X brace deal, you know, and started putting in a thing called a tub hoop, where you actually have bars, short bars coming from the main hoop down and then down to the frame, and a horizontal bar that comes across your wheel tubs and then goes forward to the hoop. So that's called a tub hoop. And then that design's been modified. Like the last eight or 9 years, professional chassis builders have got away from bending tubing. They'll do as much as they possibly can with just straight pieces of tubing, because that's the strongest way to go.
Yeah.
So this car here has, the only thing that's bent is the main hoop, and from the tub hoop to the frame, I had to put like a 38-degree bend in order to get it under where the rear window is. But it had to be high enough that I could weld the rear of the window support to the bar. In order to do that, the bar had to have a curve to it, you know. Okay. So it's, you know, get rid of bent tubes as much as you possibly can. Go with as much straight stuff as you can. So I have
that makes sense.
a lot of reference pictures from a lot of different chassis builds to be able to look at and go, yeah, I like that idea, I like this idea. So that's what I'm doing.
That's the thing, and that's why going to, like, you know, a big show, a national show, you get more information, you know.
And that's what really happens at SEMA. When you go to SEMA, man, you see some stuff.
I'll tell you what. You know what still mystifies me? Every now and then you'll see a car will pop up on Facebook or in a magazine, and you don't see any wires or hoses.
I know.
It's like, how does this thing run?
I was actually trying to do that, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
You know,
I'm not at that point of building, you know, like a, what do we call that? Like a Detroit Auto Show kind of car.
Right.
You know, where everything is hidden, customized to the point where you don't see it. You know, like they'll make these really large air cleaner / engine covers.
Yeah.
You know, to hide stuff.
Well, they come
like,
right up into the core support.
Yeah. You open up the hood on my wife's Mercedes, there ain't nothing to look at there.
Right.
The whole engine is completely covered in black grills, like black and chrome grill work.
Right.
And there's these fasteners, and there's like all this skin all around the engine compartment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the dipstick? You know, and you got to remove like 6 things to find the dipstick.
You know, I thought about it, John, and
It's
although
crazy.
the thought of doing that, I like the look where it looks like the engine can't run because it's just stuffed in there.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? You do a shakedown. I had trouble where I had a bad fuse holder. I had like things that got to be fixed. If you hit everything, now you got to get at it to fix it. It's like it may not be that easy.
9 out of 10 cars that I see that are like that, I call them trailer queens.
Yes.
Or you know, fairground cruisers.
Right.
They don't see any kind of mileage whatsoever. They may be absolutely gorgeous. They may have 2,600 horsepower, and they go from the trailer to the spot at the cruise or the show, and then they go back. And you never see. They're useless cars, you know.
Yeah. I'll tell you that Firebird that Terry is working on is the antithesis to your car. It is the modern day evil version, but you know they're doing a whole interior at it with the new stuff, which I'm not a big fan of that. I know Lewis is. I'm not. I mean, they're leaving the body original, which is great, but I kind of like the interior. I don't mind a few little touches here and there, but they're wildly changing it modern.
So they're doing like the stuff I did on the '67 Camaro.
More so.
Yeah.
They're grafting the dashboard in. I already saw that.
That's taking it to another level.
Got the whole gauge pod up in there, so it's going to be a real modern. You know, I mean, it's going to be beautiful. I'm sure.
With a stock looking body.
Right. The body is all stock. Yeah.
There's a guy. There's a guy running around my neighborhood. He has a '70 Chevelle, and it has I think it's a 14 Malibu interior.
Okay.
Oh wow!
It came out really nice. They did a good job.
The Chevelle, yeah, sure. I'll tell you, the seats that were in my wife's Cruise. I actually drove the car to the interior guy and said, "This is what I want in my car," but with my '65 vinyl. I said, "These seats are the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in," and he says, "Can't do it," you know, for various reasons. But I said, oh, "Okay," but yeah, I could see if I didn't mind having those exact seats in the car, or maybe just recover them, it'd be a great way to go. You know, some of that stuff is real nice. Yeah.
Well, I've seen in the stuff that I've been looking at that a lot of these companies sell the original, you know, vinyl, the Madrid and the different types of patterns.
Yeah.
On a roll. So if you get somebody that's a good upholsterer, they could take a modern seat, reupholster it with your vinyl. You know what I'm saying, and make it look like an antique seat, but it's all new.
Well, actually, what the project that this guy was doing for me that stalled, I got to go out there and pick my stuff up. He's out in Bohemia. We were going to he was going to use caddy seats, then we decided on Silverado seats because they're wide. The 65 buckets in my car are actually wide and square. What we're going to do is strip the seats, refold them, and then use the new vinyl covers I bought, because in the 65 the GTO has an angled pattern with the arrowhead on the back of the seat, and that's just an angled pattern on the seat part. So he was going to put that over the seat and then just make the side bolsters out of, I don't know, vinyl or leather, whatever, you know, just generic black. Right. So the seats would have the original pattern, but they'd be newer seats that would have a retractor.
Seatbelt built in?
Belt retractor, right.
Oh, no. Racing belts.
Nah. See, that's the thing. I tell you something. Even when I say it, it sounds wrong to me. But because I never built the car this way. I wanted and I don't know why I did it, but I wanted the interior of this car to look stock. And I'm not a stock guy. You know that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times stock interiors are absolutely phenomenal.
Well, from the 60s, I like the interior of the GTO.
Yeah.
I didn't even put the tack on the column. I took it off, and I had the original tack recalibrated, and I stuck it in the dash. You know, the original Pontiac tack. But like I did something in 65, either you didn't get the rally cluster. So you got a fuel gauge, a speedo, Then you could have gotten the clock option, you know, but you couldn't get a clock and a tack together if you had the rally gauges. So I didn't go for the rally gauges because I put them under the dash, but I did put a tack and a clock in the dash. So a Pontiac guy who knows 65s will say, hey, you couldn't order it that way. And I'll say, no, I didn't order it that way. I made it that way.
Tell him it was a RPO 92 special.
Right. I found a guy who was a GM. He was the guy that worked for GM that did all the calibration. He was the guy that worked in the shop where they would send radios, tachometers, speedometers, anything electric, and he would fix it. So what he did is, as his time was timing out at GM, he happened to end up with enough stuff at his house to open the same shop that he worked in. I don't know how that happened, but so I found this guy. And
lunchbox.
So, right, Johnny Cash. So I sent him my Speedo and the tack, and he calibrated the Speedo. So it's kind of like police certifying. It's like within 1.5%. It's right there. And the tack had to be converted because it was originally calibrated to work with points. So I wanted to work with electronic. And then he calibrated that for the actual numbers. So,
now,
it costs a small fortune, but
it's unique too.
Yeah.
Now, did you use those seats out of the Silverado?
No, like I said, the project stalled with this guy. He's got my parts, he's got my seats, and he didn't do anything. And he just kind of stopped. So I was out there a year ago, and I said, get it done, and I'll come pick it up. And then I didn't have it. So now my next call to him is like, when can I come pick it up?
Better hope your stuff's still there.
Yeah, I do. I do hope it's still there because I'll be out.
Better hope he's still there.
He is. Yeah. He is because he actually follows me. I see him. He follows me on social media, so I know he's there. But I'll be out.
I was looking for some of those Silverado seats too, but every time I go to the junkyard, man, they're gone. Yeah. People don't play around with them.
If he screws me, I'll be out about $1,000.
Oh no! Yeah, because I like them because they got the seatbelt built in.
Right. That's what I wanted to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you mean now.
See, he originally told me, get a pair of Caddy CTS seats. So I did. I went to Ace Auto Records in wherever the hell they are in Suffolk. Bought the seats for $250. Since he knows them, I said, just send them to his shop. I'll pay it. And then he called me and he says, oh, we got a problem with the seats. What? They said, what? They said, your beds? No, I forgot. The CTS is a 4-door. So the seats don't fold. And my car's a 2-door. I'm like, oh, wow, what are we going to do? He goes, well, I have taken some seats apart, and I was able to put a mechanism in to let them fold. Let me see if I can do that. So he got back to me and said, okay, can't do that. He goes, since it was my idea, he says, I'll tell you what, let's go with these Silverado seats. I'll get the Silverado seats, and I'll return the Caddy seats. So you don't have to, you're not out any more money other than what you paid already. He goes, and then I'll just cover those. And that's where everything stopped. So,
yeah, those are nice seats. Like you said, they're wide, they're plush.
Well, it's not even that. It's that in '65, Pontiac had a very wide, square seat. It was just stupid because it had no lateral, no lumbar. It was like, it was like they cut a bench seat in half. So they would just, but he's going to bolster them a little more and make them a little nicer. So those Silverado seats are square and wide. They're gonna. It's like the '60s Impala. It's the same thing. It's the same idea. So I think I got to bring you 3 guys with me. Is what I got to do.
Yeah, we'll straighten him out.
We got to roll in there.
Yeah.
Right.
I may wind up having to go up there. My cousin's got COVID and he's on a ventilator.
There you go, Brian. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
You got a visit?
I may have to. I don't think. He said he's not doing well.
Oh, no. Where is he?
Which means when I go to visit him, he's in Huntington.
Huntington Hospital?
Yeah. So if I have to go up there to visit him, it's because he's in a box.
Right. Well, I hope not.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. The disease that never ends. Thank
you. Yeah, I tell you. No, it's at where I'm at the school, they have a mandate out if students aren't vaccinated or at least have one vaccination by, I forget, it's like the end of this week, maybe. Bang, disenrolled, you're out.
Wow.
But they did that truthfully with, you got to have your vaccination card up to date when you go to school from, MMR, not motor mouth
Sure.
radio, mumps, measles, rubella, chicken pox, all that stuff. You have to have that. And every year they send notices out. Look, if you don't have it, you can't come back until you get it. And most kids, they're almost in their 20s. A lot of them. Most of these people have it, but some of them will come from other countries. They may be from other places in the world where that isn't common, and they resist it. And then they tell them, okay, well, you're disenrolled. But it's such a small percentage. Now they're looking at dropping decent-sized chunks of the enrollment out, and they're crying already that the enrollment. I can see it. It's off. We're lower. So, but I think it's a state mandate, so they got to do it.
Yeah.
All I know is I'm counting my days.
Pretty amazing world.
It is, in a lot
So
of ways.
Ray,
Yes, sir.
what color is your paint? Like
My
what?
paint is a 1976 Pontiac anniversary color. Now let me see. I think I wrote it down in my phone. There was a kind of a dopey name for it. Let me see.
Jubilee gold or something.
It is a gold, yeah. I call it butterscotch because it looks like butterscotch. Looks like a butterscotch pudding. And I don't know if the shop played with it because I can see where it'll change in the light. If you catch the sun on it, we see the high point there where the fender rolls. It'll look lighter and darker, that's the metallic and that cool stuff. It looks nicer than my friend's son's car, which is painted in the same color. So
All right.
maybe they jazz it up. I'll find it here.
Yeah, do a little sparkle in it. It looks good.
It is not. I like the color. Yeah, thank you. Well, that's why I said. It's. Oh, I have here written code 53, which is Denver Gold.
Denver gold.
But
That's a nice color.
I also have 76 anniversary gold metallic code 55, same as a Cadillac Seville autumn gold. But I don't remember ever seeing a Caddy in that color.
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Okay, so it's a, I had when my one daughter was in high school, I was driving her to school every morning, and this woman would come the other way in this late model. No, it ended up being 2010 Mustang. This was like 2012, and I would pass her like in the same spot of the road like every day. We were on the same schedule, just in opposite directions, and the way the sun would hit her paint was like, oh my God, I got to have that color. I looked it up. It's a 1 year only color for the GT. It's code. You're gonna love this, John. It's code GQ.
Oh God.
And it was I forget what they called it, what Ford called it. But I actually had a spray out card made. I said that's the color I want my car. But I said I don't want to put a Ford color on my Pontiac. I just really don't want to do that. But I was gonna do it. I was gonna just like tell him to change the formula and stuff. And then he comes up with this color. And he says, here's a Pontiac color. So I just compared spray out cards, and the Pontiac color was just a little bit, just a touch lighter, like a half a shade lighter. And I said, that's okay, fine. Let's go with the Pontiac color.
Yeah.
But now my
That's
big
nice.
thing is, and I can't believe I'm getting this kind of pushback. My car had on the fender, right from the headlight to the taillight, an inch below the body line, a dual black pinstripe. Just small, and it went down, followed the line, came up, just very plain. And I think it should go back on there because the black on the gold I think would look nice. I got the black interior, and I ask everybody that I come across, and they're all telling me the same thing. No, I wouldn't do it. Don't put it on there.
Why?
I don't know why. But the thought is, everybody's telling me go get pinstripe tape and put it on with tape and see if you like it. And I said, I think, that's what I got to do.
I thought you were going to do that the drum reflective stuff.
Reflective. I was just watching Counting Cars last night, and I got to tell you, on that note, I don't think Danny Coker I don't think he's in that shop at all anymore because it's like he's visiting his own place. Like you could tell like he doesn't really have a working knowledge of, like he knows what they're working on, but he's like, oh, this is Shannon. This is that bike you're working on. Like he hasn't seen it before. So I think he's kind of taking he's doing other stuff, whatever.
Wow.
But they did a Corvette. What's that, Louis?
I was going to say, if anybody's with me at SEMA, we might be going to somewhere.
That'd be cool. That'd be nice. So they did a 64 Corvette for a guy in this like electric ink blue, and they put a white stripe on the spear of the hood, and then around the spear, the paint. What's the painter's name?
Horny Mike.
Gary the
No.
local brush.
No, not Horny Mike. The guy that actually does the painting. Anyway, what he did is around that white spear, he outlined it in a
Ryan, yeah. That's it.
in a. It looked like Spectra tape, and he said it was like it was kind of like an engine turned. I wish they would have zoomed in on it, but they didn't. And I was like, I thought of it. I said, wow, what about like Spectra tape? Yeah, Spectra tape, stripes. That'd be kind of wacky. I don't know.
That'd be kind of 80s.
Well, you know what? On the back of my car, the back of my Pontiac, like between the lights where your car is, John, I have this. My taillights have a finned. It's a grilled.
Yes.
Grill.
Yeah.
And the filler panel between them is also finned in the same amount of. That's how you can tell if it's a GTO or Le Mans because it was a different amount of fins.
Right.
So what I did back in the day, it's like a 1/4 inch in between, which is painted black, and I put Spectra tape in there.
Sure.
I got the panel right in the next room. When I went to the UD one day, my buddy Dougie's got a '67 Chevelle. I walk up to it from the back. I was like, oh. He did the same thing. He had Spectra tape filling in the back. I was like, Dougie. He's like, oh God, you know how long ago I did that? I'm like, probably as long ago as I did it. I think I did it in '75 when I was working in the auto parts store. He's like, yeah, that's about when I did it.
Now guys do that stuff with carbon fiber tape.
Right.
That's like the new thing. I cringe when I think about all of the stuff we sold that falls in that genre when I worked at ATV.
Oh yeah.
From Cal Custom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my valve covers and my
all of those companies had all of that kitsy, cheap crap, and you used to sell a ton of it.
I'll tell you something. I got my Cal Custom valve covers and rear end cover, the fin ones that I bought in like '76. I wrinkle painted them, highlighted them. Those are on the car today, and I should take them off and just be buried with them because I can't see somebody else having them. I've had them like forever, and that was good thick aluminum too. That was some, it was good heavy stuff.
Real stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they had, they used to have, like John was talking about. They always had like the line of the window cranks with the holes in them, and they had like the different wing nuts for the air cleaners. They had a bunch of crappy stuff,
and they had those crappy wing nuts. They were thicker, but the head came.
Yeah,
it was like a butterfly, but the shaft was splined.
I have a drawer full of them in the garage.
Tighten up the valve cover and then take the top off and line them all up.
Right.
But they'd fall off and it'd be on Jericho Turnpike, and you're like, oh God.
What I wanted to do when I had those because, like I said, I got a drawer full of them in the garage. I wanted to take them off and put drum keys on my because it's
an idea. This is kind of similar to a drum key.
It is. Yeah. It is. Now I see these drum keys with these big wings. It's like 2 big wings.
Yeah.
You can speed tune them.
I have the ratcheting one.
Oh, I don't have
seen
one.
That?
I mean, you can use any 1/4 inch, anything.
It's got big wings on it, and it ratchets, and then there's like a tiny little knurled knob.
Right.
You flip it, and it'll ratchet to the left, and you flip it the other way, it ratchets to the right. So you can open the screws or tighten the screws.
I was on a roll.
I think I paid like freaking $30 for it.
Yeah.
It was a total ripoff.
I just was watching every drum tuning video I could find for a while just to see all the different strategies. And I actually saw a guy who had the balls to take like a Milwaukee driver and I'm like, that's how I'm going to do it. Just with a driver.
That's how the professional techs do it.
Yeah. You can sit there by hand.
I went and bought. I got it at Lowe's. It's an electric screwdriver by Black & Decker.
I have one of those. Is it the one that turns and you can go make it a 90 degree or straight?
No, it's just straight. It's like this little red and black thing with the button with the switch on or off.
Right.
And it's absolutely phenomenal when it comes to running the screws down.
Right.
And it's small.
Yeah.
And you just like put it in your palm and you go boop, boop, boop,
yeah, like a palm driver,
and then I use a regular deal.
Right. Yeah.
Hey Brian, you get into any of your car yet? working on your stuff?
No,
I'm too busy selling.
Yeah, you're making the cash.
He's a busy
no, I
man.
wish. I'm just trying to keep the doors open.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, I'm keeping the good vibes going because I was talking to someone the other day. Oh, maybe this guy Jack, and I was selling this show and my show, and I said, listen, I said the guys on the show are great. We're all car guys. I said we're into music. I said, John's building a pair of Firebirds. I said Moose is building a school bus. I said Brian's building a Mustang. He goes, oh, I love Mustangs. I was like, oh shit! I was hoping he wasn't going to get too deep into the Mustang. I was hoping he was going to assess on Firebirds for a minute, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He wants to know about the
Oh,
Mustang.
that's funny.
That was a good show, Ray. I mean, I listened. I was on a text you and tell you that guy.
Oh,
I
Uncle
like-
Tony.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Uncle Tony, yeah, he's awesome.
yeah.
And then on his next video, I sent you the link. He actually threw us some props, and he always does. He
saw that.
So now he invited us all one of his live shows. So he does a live. I can't watch the live show for some reason because he's reading comments, and to me it's not continuous. But he does a Sunday night tech show, which I don't think Chris is going to want to do, and he does a Wednesday night. No, I think the Wednesday night is tech, yeah, and Sunday night is like anything goes. So we'll probably do a Sunday night with him.
I like, when the only problem is guys like that, sometimes they get a little off. Like when he started getting on the cams and the oil, he started getting into all this stuff. And, the average person's like, okay, what, and
Brian,
there's guys like us that like that. That's like we were just talking about all those TV shows that are on TV on how corny they are because they just don't get to what we really want to see.
Right.
They just skim the top layer of the bread. They don't. We want to dive in and get to the roots.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth.
Tony's hardcore.
I was criticized many times over the years for being too tech based and too hardcore based. And I said, hey, you know what? There's guys who want to hear that. If they don't want to hear it, they can at least listen to it. And I mean, we're not doing calculus on a board or anything. I'm just talking, talking cam theory or, anything like you just mentioned,
That's
And that
go
stuff's
on, Ray.
Chinese to a lot of people.
Oh, I know. But then the reality is on the radio show, we could have a guest, or I could be talking with one of you guys or myself, and we could be talking about stuff like that. And then the phone rings, and great, someone wants to get in on this. And then you'll answer the phone, you'll say, yeah, hey, you're on the motor mouths. What do you want? And be like, what's the best way to polish the fender on my Toyota? Like, do you hear what we're talking about here?
Take it to the guy around the corner.
That's like listening to that Tim guy. Tim's the same way. John, the performance guy, Tim McKay or whatever.
Right.
Tim McCamus. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love watching. I don't know if any of you guys watch the Banks YouTube channel. Huh?
The turbocharger guys?
Yeah, the guy that owns the owner of Banks, and man, he had this saying on rear end covers the other day that I was watching, and he was talking about, here's all you dumbasses that have those flat and adding 3 extra quarts of oil. This is what is happening because he took one and cut it and put a plexiglass front, and you can see it.
I saw that video.
And I tell you, man, he starts getting into it, and I'm just like. I like it, or that's where he goes with. But I'm like, man, you just got to turn it back one notch, because most people are just lost after that,
Well, a lot of people have no idea why a 12-bolt Chevy rear end cover has like this diagonal eyebrow.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? And it's there because of science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It grabs the fluid. It shears the fluid off the ring gear
Right.
and brings it out of the way so it keeps it from foaming.
Yeah.
But then they'll go buy a Cal Custom 12-bolt finned aluminum cover, and when you look at the inside, it doesn't have that little indentation to steer the fluid where it needs to go, and the stuff just turns to foam.
Yeah. Well, that's what he was showing.
There's a lot of science in that stuff.
Oh, yeah, tons about, and especially how with the curve in there, it's throwing the oil all the way up over to get the pinion. And he said, just because you add the extra 3 quarts to skim the pinion, but he goes, that stuff just foams up, and he was showing. It's really interesting. And like I said, most people, they they don't understand or
What is his channel on YouTube, Brian? What's the? Do you know the name of his channel?
It's
Gale Banks Turbo.
Gale Banks. Right? It's Banks. Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Okay.
I'll send you the link, Ray.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah, McCamus is hilarious though.
Yeah, McCamus.
He's a hardcore chassis builder and he's technical, but he's such a regular.
I think
hardcore Republican Midwestern guy, you know.
I think he stole the line because I had a guy that wanted to go racing all the time, and I told him to stop eating fucking cheeseburgers because he wanted me to lower his car. It would take weight out of his car. And when I heard him say that, dude, I tell you, man, I said somebody was listening to me. Of course, this was a million years ago, but
eating cheeseburgers.
It's one of his best videos. He's standing there and he's talking about everybody wants to lighten their car up. Every single year, you got to figure out a way to lighten up the car. It's like, what about the fat fucking driver?
Yeah.
Put him on a diet.
Exactly.
And we're all there. I mean, we all need to stop eating the cheeseburgers. But when he said it, dude, I was just like, God.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you, you talk about a showstopper. One of the things that stops us dead with people, all I gotta do is talk about electrical. Just talk about someone will ask a question and you'll explain to them how to wire a relay, and it's like crickets. It's like, all right, listen, this is not that hard to do. It really isn't. But I tell you, it's like a game changer.
Yeah.
So we decided not to do any electrical shows.
Yeah.
Forget the Power Probe. I mean, I like to bring up the Power Probe because that thing is like a lifesaver. And, it's like you get into short finding or when they find out, it can switch two different things at the same time. Like, yeah, that's how people get into trouble because it can switch ground and positive. But, yeah. So sometimes you got to keep it light.
What's going on, guys?
Not much.
Loud and crazy.
My mic working?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, that Cadillac was kind of cool.
Oh yeah. It's slammed back Seville.
Chopping a roof on something like that,
I think they made some convertibles. Not many.
Yep, I think they took out like 4.5 inches on that car, though.
Which car are you talking about, Scott?
I was at a cruise night, Bass Pro Shop with a Patriots play.
Oh.
And
Woo.
And
Tampa Bay, all the way, Tampa Bay.
See if I can get the picture on my iPad here. There were a lot of cool cars here tonight, but
tonight. Now it's raining. It just hit 10 o'clock, like you said. Oh, it's a Seville. No, it's an Elder.
The roof has been chopped.
Oh, it is a Seville.
Chopped?
Yes. That's chopped. Yeah. Without a doubt, that's chopped. Yeah, the
big time
Seville.
It is
interesting. Put a diving board on the back just so you can jump into the lake.
Yeah, they normally have 15 to 2,000 cars on a Thursday, every other Thursday.
Wow.
But because it was the weather was iffy. In fact, we came home in the rain. I didn't take the show truck. I drove my Tahoe, but there was probably about 500 cars.
Wow.
Man, take that thing out in the rain. Don't be afraid.
The problem is where my plexiglass hood is, if water gets underneath the body inside, there's no primer, there's no nothing, there's no drain holes.
Oh.
So I don't even wash it. I use, the Showtime spray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I used to drive my car without a hood. Yes.
I'll be doing that with this one.
Around it.
I got more attention when I was driving it without the hood because people look. Yeah. Oh, everybody wants to see what's going on then.
Well,
no hood. No hood and a big giant scoop.
Yeah.
Unibit.
Just drill a drain hole and take care of all those problems.
Yeah.
The problem is all the welding and everything I did inside the hood. It doesn't take much for moisture to get through and stop rusting.
Yeah, but isn't the plexiglass part somehow mechanically attached to the hood?
It's slid in on the backside and pushed up from the bottom on the rest of it.
And you didn't
side
do the opposite and pull it out and refinish the bottom of the hood and then put it back.
I originally did a thin bead of silicone, but the problem is it moves enough that you can see dirt and dust in between. You know, I did a bead with like fine line tape, and then once it dried, I pulled the tape off, so I had a little bit of cushion, but it just it's hard to explain.
I think you need somebody CNC a piece of.
Wow. Yeah.
Silicone and bare metal are not friendly with each other.
Right.
I'm trying to see if I can show you.
Well, you have it CNC'd with a ledge in the plastic, so when you slide it in, it's like, you know what I mean.
So it locates it.
It was a hard thing to do in the first place, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but you did it.
Silicon and plexiglass were not happy with each other.
Nope, not at all. Silicone's great with glass. It's terrible with acrylic.
I guess they would etch it.
It doesn't really dry to stick.
It's tight. It's tight to the edge from the bottom.
The plexiglass first.
But water can get in between, and it's just the underside, you know, with the body work and everything I had to do, you know, there's no primer.
I don't think A6 Allen's a silicone.
You need a major redesign, Scott.
Yeah. There's your winter project. Get on it.
Rethink that project, yeah.
Just don't drive in the rain, that's all.
No. Do not be a fair weather trailer queen.
Right.
Figure it out and fix it.
But my underneath is as clean as the top side, so you know, when it starts getting driven in the crap weather, it just. And remember, we got salt and dirt and stuff on the roads.
Well, you know what, Scott? No
disrespect. From there, I know.
No disrespect, but I respect the cars that have dirt underneath.
I have rubber on my mud flaps from doing burnouts.
Rubber, dirt, rock chips. Prove to me you actually drive your car.
I have a little rock chips on the front bumper and the grill. Yeah. But that's as far as I want to go with making it look crap. You know, I got too much time and money to let it just get all crappy, you know, from driving in the rain. And
you got to get on it. You need new projects to keep it alive. So that's one of the things you got to fix this winter. Figure out what to do with that deal.
Yeah,
that's
tear it down and fresh set of eyes on it, and
I see that.
Make it right.
She doesn't.
Hi, Debbie.
Care. Hey, you have the thing on.
yeah, you're live.
The cat is helping.
The whole world's watching.
Care that she's in the way. Doesn't care.
They never do.
No.
They never do. You're in their way.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, guys. I forgot to deaden it.
That's okay.
No, you're good.
Too. Oh, that's cool.
As long as you guys just don't do anything freaky.
No, that's for after hours.
Okay.
Right.
Sean, what you do on your car this week?
Nothing since last. When did I work on the tubs? Sunday.
The weekend.
Yeah, I saw some pictures. It looks pretty good.
Sunday.
Tubs look beautiful. Nice, very nice.
I think because the weather is going to be like amazing this weekend, so I'll only have one day because I know we're going to go out on a boat. So I'll make up the cardboard for the tub on that side, on the driver's side, and then by next weekend, the metal tubs, the aluminum tubs will be in the car, and then I could start my trunk floor and the stuff going forward.
So being aluminum, obviously that keeps the weight down. So everything gets riveted, basically. You can't weld it all in.
No, because I get aluminum that's got a black finish to it because I want the trunk and underneath the car to be black. So I'm going to be buying pre-finished black aluminum to use.
So when everybody normally back halves a car, do they use aluminum or they use steel so they can weld it all?
Some guys use steel. I hate it because
it's heavy.
It's heavy, but it's not that I'm worried about the weight. The steel that they give you for the tubs, it's a pain in the neck to trim. To get it to fit the car.
Is it like 20 gauge, John?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Right? It's horrible. It's so hard to cut. You got to understand the curves of the body makes for a really weird, like if you take the big flat part of the tub and then you lay it out on a table, it's like,
oh yeah,
you know.
But that's the thing
insane.
is you make a template, and then from that template you convert it.
Yeah, you can. That's what I do. Is I make the template, and you always make the tub piece larger than the template. But then the whole art of doing a wheel tub is you have to anticipate where it's going to go, because when you shove that thing up in the car,
yeah,
and you can get it to the point where your Cleco fasteners is what you use as a temporary hold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the flat part of the tub, it's pushed down at the top, it's pushed in at the front, it's pushed in at the back. So it's egg shaped.
Right.
Until you start whittling away that extra material. But when you look at it, you have to, and this was I got a lot of years of that. You got to anticipate where that tub's going to go when you make that cut. Because you can make a cut where you think it's going to be good.
Yep.
And then when you start working the backside, all of a sudden you got this big gap. You know, it's not easy.
Measure 3 times, cut once.
Hey, Brian, do you sell
but the whole
Cleco?
thing is you gotta trim a little bit. You wind up with like shavings on the floor until you get it right. You know, it's hard. It's really hard.
You sell them?
Yep. The kits and pack of 25 or 50 or something like that.
Clecos are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to get some, because when I do the sheeting on the side of the bus, I'm going to put a couple on the top to hold it in place, and then I can start drilling the holes.
You're going to need probably the bigger, like 3/16 ones. Standard eighth inch rivet, but
no, I'm using 1/4 inch rivets.
I've never seen 1/4 inch Clecos.
They're big, man. They're like like an ink pen.
Yeah. Hey, I've only used 1/8 inch and 3/16.
Yeah.
For all the
That's
stuff I
most
do.
common.
Yeah, well, all the bus guys are using 1/4, so I'm not going to try to reinvent
the big
the wheel.
panels, so.
But do they make 1/4 inch Clecos? I've never even seen.
I have to look, but all he has to really do though, if he starts out with an eighth inch hole or whatever,
and then just open them up as you go,
and just open them up as he goes.
Yeah,
you could do that also, because I don't know. The only problem is that 1/4 inch, those Cleco, they make them. They got to be a lot more expensive. I can't remember right offhand. I think it's cost of something like $28 for a box of 25 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like buying.
We use them, so.
For what they do, I mean, yeah, that's not bad.
I've got Clecos I've had since the 80s.
Yeah.
I have like
made in America, not China.
Yeah. I actually bought mine years and years ago from it's before the tool guys even started selling any of that stuff, from a company that sells aircraft parts.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're around anymore. I think they were in Pennsylvania, a company called Aircraft Spruce. And all they sold was stuff for guys that do airframes, guys that work with acrylic and aluminum and airplanes, repair airplanes, that kind of stuff.
I had one of those catalogs here.
Yeah, Aircraft Spruce. Yeah. I don't know if they're still around. I have no idea, but we bought that stuff years and years and years ago. They don't go. Every once in a while, you'll get one that somehow you like lean on it and you bend it, and then you just throw it away.
Yeah,
but they last forever. They're amazing, And then everybody in the shop had them. So I think we probably had close to 2,000 Clecos and like 20 sets of pliers.
I was watching
all the tin work we did.
I was watching Kindig show the other night, and they were doing aluminum work, and they had just trays of them all throughout the car. It was like big trays of M&Ms, just everywhere.
And it's cool because you can get them. There's some specialty companies that make some that are like really short for like areas where you're working like behind a panel and it's real tight. Because the standard ones are, kind of long. So they have ones that squeeze panels together. It's like
That's nice.
it's almost like a pair of vice grips.
Yeah.
You know, so you squeeze it and it opens, and then you slide the two panels inside it, and then it squeezes them together.
Yeah.
There's a whole
That's
bunch of different types.
That's even like the ones there's. Well, it's not from Clico, but I don't have any here. I have some inside that will hold the panels together. Like, you can space and gap and hold, like butt weld. If you want to put two panels together or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they make there's a lot of little things.
That's good that you sell that stuff. That's awesome, man. Because like way back then, my tool guys didn't sell that stuff at all.
Yeah.
Speaking of butt welding, I thought of you guys tonight. I got this little project. I'm using a snowblower that came out of Hurricane Sandy. It was actually it's a little 2-stroke Craftsman, and it was floating in the guy's garage. So my buddy reclaimed it, and he got it right. He goes, "Hey, listen, I know you love these little 2-stroke things." So he gives it to me. I've been using it for since Sandy, since 2012, but now it's getting a little ragged. And my neighbor threw one out a couple of years ago, so I grabbed it, and I thought it was the same machine because it's green. So I decided yesterday to pull it out and take a look at this thing, pull the carburetor off, and I see, no, his was a 21-inch 4-stroke, not a 2-stroke. I'm like, oh, even better. I'm always surprised at how people can beat the crap out of yard equipment and keep going. It's like the crank that turns the auger chute is broken. The bolts with the big wing nuts that hold the handle, he's got like a wad of duct tape on each side instead of going out and getting the right bolt and nut, right? So there's a little bracket that guides the cable for the auger, and it anchors it, and it's held in place by a bolt, and it can be adjusted if you have to change the slack. And I saw that the bracket was just hanging, and it's rusted. I said, okay, it was maybe about a 1/2 inch wide, and it was snapped. So I took the other piece out, and I said, okay, I got to just weld this stuff together. So I'm not going to put money into this thing until I know it works. I want to get it running and all first. So I had to jig these pieces up to hold them butted together. It was like a fork because there's a nut that goes through. So it took me like a half hour to get these. I'm using my flat build vice grips and another little vice on the tape. All this, I'm chucking the vice grips in the vice to hold it to give me another. And then all of that to get the MIG welder and do the smallest little, I think like a jeweler's welder. And I'm like, this is like crazy. It's like ridiculous doing something that small. But
you need like those. Brian can get them for you. You need those big triangular magnets. I
have them.
There.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have them. I have those.
You lay them down, and then you put the pieces on it, and you can move it around and get it all lined up.
And the God's honest truth, I didn't even think about using them, but I have like 4 of them sitting right there. Well, because I want the thing to stay and not move. So.
Yeah, that's it.
But then the bigger problem was welding the smallest little, just like the 2 sides, like to not over weld it, because then you got to.
Low heat, just pull the trigger, let go. Pull the trigger, let go.
That's what I was doing, yeah.
It's like a series of spot welds.
Pretty much. That's what it was, yeah. I was like, all of that just for this. And I probably could have just remade the bracket easier,
I just bought the bracket on Amazon.
Crank it up and melt the fucker. That's
there
all.
You go.
There you go.
Hey, guys,
coming apart.
Right.
Hey, guys, I got to jump ship.
All right,
I can do the same thing. I'm dying over here.
See if you can get a hold of Jack. He'll be a good guest if you can land him for next week.
Yeah, I sure will.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lewis.
Good night.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm out too.
All right. Good
All right,
talking to you.
go fix your plexiglass.
Work on that car. Don't be a trailer queen.
Don't go wipe down the wheel wells or something. Get some.
It used to be like a trailer queen if I went to any like faraway shows. Anything more than like 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you kidding? I
went to Manchester, New Hampshire. It was an hour and 45 minutes. We go to Lebanon Valley, New Hampshire. New York. That's almost.
You go to Lebanon Valley?
Yeah, I've driven it there a couple times.
I love that racetrack.
I usually go for Musclepalooza.
That's one of my favorite racetracks. When we would build cars and they were like. Well, this is before the kind of racing you see on TV.
Yeah.
Like no prep stuff. But what we would call no time cars, guys that
NT.
grudge cars that race for money.
Right.
So when we would build cars like that, and the guys were like out of Jersey or something, didn't want anybody to know what was going on.
We're out of Mass.
Oh, didn't go to Englishtown. They'd go up Lebanon Valley.
We'd put the car in a box and leave in the middle of the night and go to Lebanon Valley and test there because nobody would know us.
Right.
You know, I can't believe how many cars I tested in Lebanon Valley through the years. That's a great track.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 45
It's weird because the track is like on the right-hand lane. It's like on the property line.
Yeah.
There's nothing but a couple of like billboard signs on the right-hand side. Everything's on the left. You know, and it's just it's a beautiful track in a really beautiful area in New York. It's so nice. Everybody's so happy and it's like country. You know, it's like a country.
Yeah, it's almost
track.
in the boonies.
He's laughing. It is in the boonies. But everybody. Hey, being from Long Island, when you go to upstate New York, that's a whole different group of people, different DNA. They're not the same.
Dutchess
You ever been
County.
to Maple Grove?
They're Hicks. They're all Hicks up there. You know.
You been to Maple Grove?
Oh yeah. Maple Grove's where I went my first.
It's in the middle of the freaking cornfields. There's nothing out there.
Maple Grove's the first place is the place where I made my first 6-second pass and 211 mile an hour pass.
If you went to Maple Grove, you had a chicken story somewhere along the line.
Maple Grove's awesome because we go for a couple of different races, but like at the end of the year, they have the Pennsylvania Dutch Classic. So we would go there for that, and you're there in the pits, and you come out of your trailer, and you look to the left, and there's a cow sticking his head through the fence, looking at you. Oh, you know, and then like when we would go for the national event, you'd see the.
Obviously, the animals weren't bothered by the race cars.
No, what's the name?
They like the racing. They like the smell of the can too.
They drive in the horse buggies and they don't have electricity. The Amish people would be sitting in the hill watching the devil white boys racing their modern cars. You know,
I remember driving back the show truck up to the hotel, the Inn in Reading, and this is Amish guy riding his bicycle, a couple of them, and I go going by him. It's just so funny.
You know,
we stayed at the Inn in Reading a lot. That's a nice place.
They're not necessarily all they're cracked up to be. And I'll tell my friend, I got a good friend from here. He lives in PA now. He's a trucker. And this is going back years ago. I don't remember what he was. He used to deliver for ice cream, and he delivered a whole bunch. Still worked at different companies, but he had to deliver to this Amish farm, and he had to find Zeke, and he was back in the barn. And he goes way in the back of the property, goes into the barn to find out where to drop whatever he was delivering. Might have been wood to build swings out of or something. And there's Zeke out in the barn welding something. and there was no hand crank on it. So it was like, oh, okay. So you put it back in the barn, huh? Oh, no.
Oh, man.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
So long, Scott.
Take care, guys.
Start working on that thing.
Yeah. Go clean the wheel well.
Keep me posted. That's funny.
Oh boy.
I love making fun of cars that are like that. Not his. I mean, his truck's cool.
Right.
But we used to go to those Street Machine Nationals all the time.
Oh yeah.
It was all those trailer queens, like people. I don't know. I'm sorry. That guy Rick Doberton with that 65 Nova that was on like a bazillion covers because it was a pro street car and it had turbos and blower and nitrous. And I'm like, okay, yeah, why? And and the why is because I can, and I'm like, okay, I can respect that, but I mean, we went to the Street Nats in Syracuse.
Yeah.
The same year that car was like on the covers of just about everything, and people were like, oh,
yeah,
and he's got 2 parachutes mounted on that steel bumper of a Nova.
Oh, God.
They're at a 30-degree angle facing the ground.
What the hell's that going to do?
Right? And I'm like, this guy engineered this whole thing, and then he mounts these 2 giant Deist top fuel parachutes in those aluminum covered bags, and they're literally aimed at the ground. And I'm looking at it from the point of view of a guy that races, and I'm like, really?
Maybe he figures if he's on the top end and he needs a little extra hit, he can fire the chutes and it'll propel him.
That car never went down a track in its life.
Yeah.
And it spent its whole life from a trailer to a show indoors, from a trailer to a show outdoors.
And that's exactly why. Because it didn't matter because they were never going to be used. It was just eye candy.
And it ran, but he drove it around, the fairgrounds.
Right.
And I was there with the white car, and I had more people looking at my car than he had this hot rod cover car because mine was legit. I drove it every night from the hotel to the fairgrounds to cruising. And I'm like, dude, you could do the same thing and have a real car instead of having a trailer queen. But
it's like TV cars. When I got to work with the Batmobile and the Dragula, and I'm like, wow, two Hollies on a cross frame intake on the Dragula, and found out like, no, there's one Holly 2-barrel underneath. Yeah. There's I'm looking like, wait a minute, this stuff isn't hooked up. Like, when you get close enough, you can see it, but you don't see it otherwise,
I got a guy that lives in the neighborhood, has a Batmobile.
Yeah, you were saying that last week, yeah.
And it's like the original body style Batmobile from, the Futura one.
I'll tell you something.
It's beautiful. It's just absolutely detailed to the max. And I'm like, where did they get these wheels that look exactly like the wheels that were on the car in the
Raider
show?
Wheels. I showed you. I got one next door. I got a pair of them. They're Raider. Well, these were actually from the Batmobile.
But he's got like.
I can tell you
that police light on the top with the chrome all around it, and I'm like, where did they find these things?
A lot of stuff can be remade, but I could show you some stuff on that car because I spent so much time with it at the AutoZeum, stuff that you can't buy. And because I was asking the guy who built it, and I said, there was like the lever, it was a reverse, right? It was literally a broom handle that he painted red and then just put a crossbar on. It was a piece of a broomstick.
Nice.
Again, for TV. And on the dash, there was all these like mirrored tiles. And I'm like, where did these come from? It was like my wife. It was my wife's credenza in the dining room. He was like, just took the stuff apart and I just built it out of that. It's like, wow. Again,
we have one here down the street, the Batmobile, the guy built. And he was on that show, What Is It Worth, or whatever that was on.
Oh yeah.
And he had that on the show, and that lady, one of the judges or whatever, chewed his ass out about because the engine wasn't detailed. It
wasn't detailed though.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I don't understand why you're giving me a hard time because the Batmobile was jet powered.
Right.
That's why he has the flames that come out the back and everything. I mean, he can he comes up to our car show and puts on a show with it, and he's like, I don't understand why you want me to spend $10,000 to deck out a motor that's not even really real on that car because it was jet powered, and that's why I had the flames come out the back.
She obviously didn't understand the fact that it's a TV car.
Yeah.
Name one episode where you ever saw the Batmobile's engine.
You never saw the
because it was a jet powered, And I wrote in and said, man, you gave that guy. I mean, that was BS because that
do what, dear?
It wasn't supposed to be about
you don't.
Engine.
You just see flames coming out the back.
You see that backs up what I said before about judges. I mean, somebody can be very knowledgeable in what they do.
Nope, she doesn't.
Something they don't know, and they obviously don't know jack shit about it.
Right.
It's a TV car.
But it was funny because he was in the parking lot one time up the street here, and somebody hit him and took off. So he chased him in the Batmobile until the police came and got the guy.
Wow.
So he was on the cell phone telling the operator that he's in pursuit of the guy that hit him in the Batmobile, and the operator was like, "What? What are you saying? What are you talking about?" And he chased the guy down and until the cops came, and so I thought that was kind of funny. So, but it's a beautiful car. I mean, it's absolutely.
I'll send you the video. We did a commercial for them, and we were in the Batmobile, the Bat Cave. It was actually the garage on Jamaica Avenue in Jamaica, where the car was stored at the time. And then it cuts to us driving a cap tree. And the funny thing was, the car had such a beat 390 in it. It was huffing oil. It was a piece of crap. So on the video, you'd see when I would decel, you'd see the oil smoke. So the videographer by the magic of editing, he just put in flames. So it looked like the afterburner.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I love that body style. I think that's the nicest of all the Batmobiles.
Yeah.
And the funny part is he's got the Batmobile, and then he's got a real 55 Lincoln that has the very similar front end of that car, or the because that was like a prototype.
It was based off the Futura.
The Futura, yeah.
Oh, wow, you got a bat phone.
And this is actually taken off the mold of the phone that was used on TV. So I handed this to George Barris to autograph it, and he took it and he turned it upside. It's autographed upside down. He did it upside. I was like, all right, just do it.
He looked at it. He goes, "Where'd you get this?"
We made him at the AutoZeum.
That's really cool. I like the original Batmobile. I like Jeffrey's Monkey Mobile.
That's another one we had over there too. Yeah.
I think that car is totally awesome. The way he totally bozoed out the nose.
Oh yeah.
And then did that huge convertible Landau top.
Yeah.
I just thought that car was awesome with those stupid exhaust stacks coming out of the fender.
All fake. It was a stock
all fake.
400.
But I just love that car though.
We had the one there from the show, and there was a balloon fest out in Sayville one year. Was it Sayville? No, it was further out. Where the hell was it? Damn, it was further out east. Anyway.
Sayville?
No, I think it was further in Sayville. Yeah. Anyway, we were, it was past.
I don't know, Ray, were they happy people there?
At the balloon fest?
Yeah, were they all happy? When you get further out,
They were all kind of happy, yeah.
They're all happy out there because they got money.
So we're sitting in the car and we're getting pictures. I'm looking and the car has 30,000 miles on it. And they were all on and off the trailer miles.
Yeah.
Never got driven.
Parades, couple parades and stuff like that, and that's it. Yeah.
But just all stock GTO inside, all original. It was cool.
The car the AutoZeum had, the Monkey Mobile, that was the actual one? Or
yes, it was.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Well, everything there was legit. Everything there was real. The Triple X cars were real. The DB5 was real. Herbie the Love Bug was real. The what else was over there? There was so many different cars that came in and out of there.
And where is that Monkey Mobile now? Because when you look at that video that Lou started, he shows that car with a guy who kind of lets on that he just kind of found it sitting somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know where this one went, because once the AutoZeum closed, a lot of stuff got sold, and I know they took a lot of stuff to a Mecum auction. I actually have the book here somewhere. I don't remember if that got sold or not. It might have.
Yeah, because there's some guy standing next to it, and Lou starts talking to him, but it's in that sizzle reel,
right,
on his deal, and
he didn't do a show last night, did he?
No,
I didn't think so.
Yeah, no.
Well, hasn't gotten bought yet.
What?
I don't know.
The show. I mean, he pitched a show, and then what happened was he talked about that. Remember, because he pitched a show, and then about a year and a half goes by, and somebody called him and said, "Hey, we got this idea about the show," and Lou's go, "That was a show that I pitched to this guy."
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the end of that or because Lou was like, that was the deal that I pitched to this guy, or
that
this
was
is
the end of that because they went and ran with it and cut him out. Yeah, he had nothing to do with it. Yeah.
So,
All right, guys, my turn to bail. I gotta get up early tomorrow.
Bail, hey.
Take care, guys.
all right,
Oh,
take
Jim.
care, Jim.
Later, Jim.
Sleep well.
Oh yeah. Oh, then there were 4.
Yep.
Yabba dabba do. Brian, the truck looks nice and stocked. At least the troubleshooting and diagnostic shelf.
It's there. It's getting there.
Okay. All
It's
right.
a little bit. Ever since when the truck was down for that 7 weeks, and I was using it as a storage bin, and then of course once I got the truck back up and running, I still just need to spend 1 weekend of just getting it cleaned out and back together. But I just really haven't had time.
Yeah, it's
A lot
hard
of
to
work.
it's hard to dedicate that time.
Yeah, and especially when I had the hutch came in tonight, and I had I don't know 8 or 9 more boxes, and it's just crazy trying to get all that stuff loaded and double check that we're getting stuff bits and pieces. Again, it's. And then I look at something and was like, man, when did I order this? So,
Right.
So, this was, we had this hub and rotor tool. This is to clean around on hubs.
Oh, the studs? Yes.
Yeah, around the studs.
Yes.
And then this one's on German cars.
Who cares? I want the other one is the one I'm looking for. Yes. I was just doing mine. I'm trying to get in between everything. I'm like, God damn, I got to buy that freaking tool. Why didn't I buy that tool?
Yeah.
Put it on my list, please.
Yeah. So, but this was 2 meetings ago, and it's I get a case of 10 of them, and I'm like, when did I order these? So it's
What
crazy.
does it do?
When you
It cleans the when you're mounting the tire on or on the hub, and where the studs come through, the studs fit through here so that you can clean, so that you got a clean surface, because a lot of times when you have aluminum wheels on a steel, you get corrosion and it doesn't mount, and you don't get you get an improper torque reading actually, and the wheels get loose.
you can, I just did this on the FJ. I use my roll-lock discs, and I can get 85% of that area. But between the stub, the stud, and the axle flange, you can never really get in there right.
Yeah.
Then
I get the other one. See, the other one's flat, so that you can do the back of the wheel.
Yeah.
So
what's the part number?
The part number on this is HR14K.
It's going on my list. And you call that a what do you call that? A stud and flange?
It's a hub and rotor polisher kit.
Hub and rotor polisher kit.
So,
How about do they have something that cleans the part of the axle flange that sticks through the drum?
Same thing. You could, that's the same issue with getting that area. Here's my Matco tool list. It's a whole page already. It's like,
there you go.
And then you have this one here. This one is actually for a back of a wheel. See how because where the wheel is cut in, go over that where the thumb. This cleans all that in the back of the wheel.
What is that made out of?
looks like a big cookie.
Yeah, well, it's like that roll-lock disc material.
Really coarse. Looks like it's really
it's very coarse. Yeah, and then it has Velcro backing where it goes onto the hub.
So
to the tool that you're
that'll
using.
last you a long time.
Yeah, and this cleans the back of wheels. This is a little bit bigger. You can do the same thing with the smaller one. It's just that when you're on some of the tire mountings for like a wheel balancer, where you have a cone, some of them actually have a flatter disc that goes on to hold the wheel. And
Right.
if you don't have it clean, you're not going to get a true
Right.
reading or balance.
Yeah, like you said, torque can be off. Sometimes guys will get a little vibration, or a little inconsistency, and it can be traced back to that.
All of my tire stores, NTBs, Goodyears, all those Pep Boys, that's their mandate that they got to have that tool. They got to if they don't clean a wheel and a wheel comes off, they're done.
Really?
I worked on that Jeep a couple weeks ago. I was showing my daughter's fiance how to clean. He was asking me what I was doing, and I explained to him I was doing the hub, and I did the back of the wheel, and then I used the Nevistes. And I said to him, "Here," I handed him I was using the air-powered die grinder. I said, "Here, you do it." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "The worst you're going to do is you got to get a technique with the roll lock, because otherwise you hit it wrong. If you're too flat, you hit it and you skip off." I said, "So go on an angle, like a 30 or 45 degree angle." I said, "You'll feel it." I said, make yourself useful.
Do you have these roll locks?
No, I don't. I was just using the regular
cookie ones.
Yeah, just the 3M cookies. Yeah.
Yeah, those ones with the fingers are really good. They come in all different colors for different courses.
Yeah, this is for aluminum, or it's medium grit.
Yeah.
Right.
Green is coarse, white is fine. You should really use the white on aluminum, but
yeah. So then I showed him how to use the Nevistes, and I said, if you use this wrong, you end up looking like the Tin Man.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, get it on your hands. Let me know when it comes off." I said, "For me, my hands are greasy, so I get that shit on my hands. It don't matter. It all just wipes off because I got grease. I got a grease layer."
Yeah.
I said, "It doesn't usually affect me, unless I got to, of course, that's when you got to like wipe your nose, scratch your nose or something, or you got to,
I was going to ask you if there was. I'm trying to think of what it was for. I was trying to find out if there's something like anti-seize, but not anti-seize.
For what purpose?"
That's I
Oh,
can't
that's what you
remember
can't
what
remember.
the purpose was. There was a reason I wanted to lubricate something, but I didn't want to use anti-seize, but I wanted to lubricate it. Oh, okay, I get it. I know what it is. It was when I was doing the battery trays.
Yeah.
They are stainless hardware
Right.
into aluminum.
A drop of light oil.
Really, just that?
Light oil, like light machine oil. Yeah, 3-in-1.
3-in-1.
What's 3?
WD-40. Yeah, 3-in-1.
Right.
Yeah. I love 3-in-1.
Yeah.
They have.
Remember Little Rascals when Mrs. Crabtree asked, "What's 3-in-1?" He's like, "Oil."
2-in-1.
What?
Shoe polish.
Yeah. Polish, right.
But
That's
WD-40.
a funny episode.
Yeah.
WD-40 has their specialist series on sprays.
Right.
And I think there's actually something for that, for the stainless steel and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, because those battery trays are aluminum, all billet aluminum stuff with stainless steel fasteners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's all I need is to put that in there, and then it seizes and
Let 'em
destroys
gall.
itself.
Yeah, the stainless will gall to the aluminum without a doubt.
I mean, I don't have a problem using anti-seize, but I was like, there's got to be something better than that.
Yeah.
I'd use white lithium grease.
Oh yeah, that too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's WD-40 is my go-to, but white lithium is another.
You're gonna make me pull out the engineering Bible, Brian, and look it up.
Hey, I sent you to buy that.
That's the one I use.
Yeah, I tell you.
Oh yeah, the blue book. Yeah,
great book.
Without a doubt.
I can't tell you how many times I get that book out and read something.
I gotta tell you, I was buying. Where the hell are the other ones?
There goes Ray.
I'm going deep. Oh, now I can't find it. Where did I put them? Well, I don't know. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
The Bosch reference, it's excellent. But like the writing is so small. I bought these other ones years ago. They're black. It's like the engineer's reference. I actually got it at Restoration Hardware.
Yeah.
And it had like, there was an engineer's one, there was an electronic one. It had all the formulas and everything particular to that genre. Just fantastic. You know, that's the stuff like I'll sit and read like a factory service manual when I got nothing to do. Because you see like how the right way to do something is that you never did, you know, and you say,
exactly.
You know, like how to adjust a wheel bearing, you know, it's like all the misconceptions. And that's what these books are good for too. It's the right way of doing stuff. I wonder, let's see. We would look, I guess it'll be under lubricants, right?
Yeah, should lubricant maybe protect
Whoa, I just saw something on reaction time. Reaction time, comma, braking. It's got to be about like how long it would take for a brake to come off. No, talking about stopping distance. Brake response and pressure. Build-up times. Wow. I'm always amazed when I see what's in this book.
What's the name of those books, Ray?
This is just called the Automotive Handbook. It's a Bosch publication, 3rd edition.
Yeah, they're up to like it's that one's a little outdated. I mean, they're up to like yeah, well, they're up to like I think is that 3rd edition or 4th edition?
3rd. This is editorial closing was 1993.
Yeah, they're up to like 15 or 16 now.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, the physics didn't change, the math didn't change, the science didn't change. So all the stuff in here is still valid. It just may not be updated from mod. Like I just went to the L page, and there's the first entry is L Jetronic. So
yeah, well, that's the reason why. Like I said, when we were talking back in the time about that, that book's perfect. If you have an old German car come in, that will solve all your problems.
You know, when was the last time you saw an L Jetronic car? I mean, I got the L Jetronic manuals in my library because my brother worked at Porsche.
Yeah,
but you know, there's L and K. I got all that stuff, but people don't even know what the hell that is.
Yeah,
never heard of it till today.
Yeah, that was Bosch's mechanical fuel injection that they put on all their cars. I mean, from a Volkswagen to a Porsche, all had the same fuel injection. And my Fiat had L Jetronic on it. It was because they used what was available, and it was the Bosch stuff.
You know? And then if it had an E, it was electronic.
Right. That was all mechanical. So let's see. We wanted lubricating grease. Lubricating grease. Yeah, this isn't going to be specific enough. Transmission lubricants. Yeah, base oils. It gives you the breakdown. Like in mineral oils, it'll tell you mineral oils contain paraffin, naphthalenic, and aromatic. So they tell you what's in all this stuff. Like you'd ever want to know, right?
All the cancer-causing chemicals.
Right. Then we go to fuels.
Well, in California, all of it would be cancer-causing chemicals. California.
You know, let me tell you something. You guys in California, you're out to lunch. I get auto parts. You know, everything's got that California label. I got a set of headers for that Camaro, and there was a label on it. Could cause cancer. How the fuck does an exhaust header cause cancer?
I know.
On behalf of California, I'm sorry.
You got some weird people making the rules over there. Let me tell you, they're all out.
That's the problem. They're making the rules. Unfortunately, the people with any common sense don't have the money to get elected or don't stay in office, because I've never seen a group so eager to save the world.
Right. Well, you know, just like that whole global warming thing.
I was going to say they should start thinking local, not global. Like save your town first. You know, save your ass, then worry about the world.
I have yet to see a scientist to convince me that global warming is real.
Okay, here we go.
Bullshit.
California, right?
Yeah.
We have a mandate to have all electric cars by what, 2035?
2035 or
And
something like that.
PG&E turns off our power when it's windy outside because we might have a fire. So yeah, we have planned power outages, but we're going to go to electric cars. Go California.
I haven't heard any of them talk about how that electricity is generated yet. That, yeah.
Oh no,
You
no,
know?
I can't say that.
I mean, come on.
You hear my wife cackling in the
Yes.
background?
There's
She's
so
asking
much
questions
hidden
like that.
truth.
Oh,
The amount of raw materials it takes to build the batteries
And
to
dispose of them.
make
Mhm.
electric cars, and then you can't dispose of the stuff. The deal for windmills, the windmill blades, they never deteriorate, and you can't recycle them, so you got to bury them.
Bingo.
it's like styrofoam cups that they
But
now finally
these are the
outlawed again.
things. These are all the things that the ass-kissing Democrats don't want the normal people to understand.
It's not only that; it's just the out and out lies and the
Flat out
misinformation. You know, I was watching something. I don't know. It was on Fox the other day, and watching these guys grilling each other on the subcommittee, and a guy asks the other guy a pointed question, "Sir, this is a yes or no question." And I said, "Okay, let's see how he's going to squirm out of this." And of course, he
Couldn't
went
answer.
with the yes or no. He went squirming all over the freaking place, like they should have like a punching bag comes out of the side and just goes whack.
Because that's an important
No,
question.
that wasn't a yes or no answer.
I know, right? That's
Yeah, you can get out of a yes
And they
Did
get
he,
away with it.
ask, did he answer it? It's good you asked that question because that's an important question. And we're going to figure out how that
Right.
question can be answered.
yeah.
That would have been at least somewhat intelligent, at least intelligent ruse. No, this guy was even worse than that because he was pissed off. So he didn't want to even give the guy the benefit of a halfway decent answer, a dodge. He really, it was. I said, shut this stuff off. I can't watch this. And they all do it because they know it's going to be their turn in the hot seat. So
it's anybody with common sense, you wind up that far away from having a coronary or
Right.
or having a stroke because it's outright lies and bullshit narratives.
Yeah.
And it's like how could anybody get on the same side of that stuff?
my wife.
I listened to it and I'm like, you guys are so off base and so protected. If I could get near somebody just to hit him in the face, tell him you're such a liar, you're such a piece of shit, and you get paid to do this.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'd love to get within punching range of the president. I'll take the lifetime prison deal just to knock his teeth down his throat because
God.
he's so full of shit.
He doesn't know what he's doing or not doing. I don't think he's fully capable of knowing what he's even being told to say. I believe.
Well, the part that pisses me off is he's screwing up my country.
Yes.
His brain failure.
Oh, it's screwed. It's already done. Yeah, it's done.
You just fight to keep it as sane as you can, which is hard.
You're at the point where you can't fight against these idiots. Look what they did to those Mounties on horses.
Oh, I know. Please.
They kicked them to the curb. They put them on desk jobs. They're doing their job. Not one of them did anything wrong. And now you got Al Sharpton, the shit stirrer, non-tax paying moron. Right. He's going to the border to start shit because it looked like, he was treating a black man like a slave. Really? Yeah. Al, go fuck yourself. You you got those bitches from Congress, the squad.
Right
away. They don't. Oh no, there's nothing going on at the border. There's no problem. There's no situation.
Really?
Oh my God, they're treating them like slaves. We have slavery in America. You can't do that. Excuse me. Nobody invited these people to come here. There's some other ulterior motive as to why these thousands and thousands of people are flying across the border every day. There's something going on with that, okay? They're not coming here because they want a better life. They're coming here because somebody's giving them something, right? And then you get these morons that come down there. Oh, there's no problem until somebody who's of darker color looks like he's getting roughed up. And then, all of a sudden, there's a humanitarian cause. We need to be at the border in Texas.
Well, because they spin the narrative to fit their objective.
And people that drink this Kool-Aid really, really think that there's that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah. Did you see what the governor of Texas did? He
with all the cars.
With all the SUVs that were black. Yeah. I was like, damn, he's got a lot of freaking vehicles, man.
There's a lot of vehicles in Texas.
It sure was.
See, I wouldn't do that.
He could have even spaced them a little further apart. You know, he made his point with an iron wall, but
we're not in any wars at the moment.
No. Well, we are, but we're just not.
I'd put the military there.
There you go. All these guys that have nothing to do, send them down there.
Here's the deal. It's so simple, but they're not going to do it because they're getting paid on this deal. Okay? If asshole would go on television and in a stern voice, which I think he could muster up for a minute or two with a teleprompter.
But he's better with his crying voice.
And tell the world, don't come here. Do not think you're coming across my border, because if you want to come here legally. Do the right thing. Fill out the paperwork, wait in line, and we'll get to you. Don't jump my border. And put the military there.
Yeah, but they want them over here because they're going to give them all. They're going to give them all the pass, and they're going. That's a vote. They're flooding. They're flooding those southern states down there because they get them all in there. There's buses down here at Walter Reed Annex Building. There's buses with all those Afghanis being shipped all over. They're shipping 5,000 people all over the country from these centers. They're not being tested. They're not being checked. They're not being anything. They're just dispersing them throughout. And all it is that they're going to give them the pass. And next thing you know, when the voting comes around, they're going to be all these registered Democrats.
Remember who helped you? They already said there was like 8 to 10 babies born in that squalor. So, now they got American citizen status. They're born on American ground. They're going to file for that.
Nah, see, that's I guess I'm prejudiced and I'm a shithead. I'd punt every one of them right back over the border.
Blame about 100 and something years ago when our ancestors said, "Oh, anybody born in the United States is automatically an American citizen."
Oh yeah,
right. And if I was the president, I'd sign one of those executive orders that says anybody born in America is an American as long as your parents are legally here. If you crossed my border illegally, you have invaded my country. I don't care if you drop 10 kids here. You're from Guatemala. You're all Guatemalan.
Well,
you ain't an American citizen.
I was reading every once in a while. You get a little crack of information about like this multi-trillion-dollar plan that they're putting through, and about the they cover the 35 trillion, but the rest of it they don't want to talk about. And actually, I heard a little something. They said there was something in there about DACA, and there you go. It's another little thing they're wedging in there to just advance that cause. And we're never going to see it or know about it until it's in your face.
Because they can't write a bill that's just a bill.
No.
Like some senator, or congressman will say, we should write a bill about fire hydrants. Fire hydrants should all be the same color across the nation, so they're standardized. Okay, fine. Write that bill. And they'll take what would fit on one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. They'll turn it into 3,000 pages. Yeah. And somewhere around 1,560, there'll be a paragraph that says, if this passes, you have to give $70 million to this support group.
Right. Yeah.
And unless you read every single page, you don't know what you're signing. You don't know what you're voting on.
It's
typical. That. Yeah, it's typical.
Yeah, so you're an asshole if you vote
of the way they are.
Right.
It's like you got to pass it to know what's in it.
And then what they do is the guys who know and vote against it because they're against the other shit. Now that goes on their voting record. So then when they run for office later, they bring that back up about the guys with no conversation about why you voted for or against something, because it's all talking points, and that's what the country runs on, just talking points and bullet points.
Right. And the problem is that a lot of these senators and congressmen they can get on TV, but they don't because they're so busy doing whatever they're doing. And they should bring up these points. Here's the reason I'm not voting for that bill.
Right.
Because there's this, and this. And
Sure.
if you don't, if you're cool with that, fine. But I don't think you're going to be cool with it. So I'm not voting for it.
Right.
You know, because it's all about money under the table. The whole thing is money under the table.
I think the reason they don't do that is because they know at some time it's going to be their turn to be putting something through, and they want everybody to vote for their crap too. So it's just a band of thieves. It's a big band of thieves.
I can't see any of this stuff ever changing unless somehow, some way, there's this massive attack that basically just flattens out the whole government, and you got to start over. That's the only way you're going to get it right, because you're not going to vote these people out.
No.
Because even the guy who comes, or the woman that comes off as poly purebred, she's as dirty as a freaking mud puddle.
Yeah.
None of them are clean. I don't care what party they're from. None of them are clean. They're all owned by somebody.
What about when Ted
So you're not
Kennedy...
getting rid of that. You they'll never vote for term limits because who does the voting? They do.
Right.
Why would they vote for term limits? But I think until we decide we're done, and we have way more guns and power than they do, and the U.S. Army is not going to start killing us. That's never going to happen. So until we decide we've had enough and we raid wherever these people are and put them up against the wall, it's not going to change. Until there's a massive civil war here in America and thousands of people are going to die, it's never going to change.
Careful
it just
with
gets
that.
worse and worse and worse. Hey, they can send the fucking Suburbans to pick me up. I don't give a shit. I really don't care.
Doctors will claim that you are some sort of psychopath.
Oh, absolutely.
They took my driver's license away from me because I told them I'd passed out for a split second because of all the medications I had. I stood up in the dark, hit the floor.
Oh, God.
And then but I didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
But as soon as I said that to my VA doctor, she said, "Oh my God, we got to cancel your driver's license."
Wow.
Why? Because you passed out for a split second. I just said I thought I did. I didn't say I did. So be very careful what you say around my doctor.
Oh yeah. Well, don't say anything around my doctor. It's just unreal.
I'm learning that.
It gets worse every day. I listen to the bullshit and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me here.
Well, I thought my wife was converting on me because last weekend and this same time last year, we've had this strain of these mosquitoes that you don't see. And she's been getting bit like crazy. So's my daughter. I got bit like once or twice, but no biggie. But she really is like turning red. And it was the same. I remember it was the same because we got this garlic spray. It's like concentrated garlic liquid. And I put it in a lawn spray. I pumped it and I was spraying. That's like sprayed the guy's air conditioner behind me. My dopey neighbor. But anyway, so, I'm waiting to see what they are. Chuck E. Cheese Schumer comes out in the paper the other day and he stands up and says, "We have to do something about these mosquitoes and the mosquito problem." And, it is typical pontificating way. So she goes, I tell you something. She goes, I'm this far from being a Chucky fan. She goes, he's voting for mosquito control. I'm like, don't do it. Don't go to the dark side. I'll spray the yard.
Unbelievable. He's
so
worried about mosquitoes.
Be a Chucky fan, but
tell him all he's got to do is call my governor. He'll tell you what to use.
That's what he gets behind now is mosquito control. With all the stuff going on.
We have really good mosquito control here.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they use, but it's good.
Garlic.
I don't know.
I tell you, I just took this carburetor apart for this snowblower, man. It was like varnished. That smell of I didn't even get any on me except for my hands that I washed. And like all night, I just smelled like varnish.
Yeah.
It was like, God. I was like dousing myself with 2+2 just to kill the varnish smell. Oh, it was crazy. Oh man.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, guys, I'm going to get out of here because supper's waiting.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're like hours behind us.
Wow, another supper. That'd be a good idea. Eat again.
Hey, I'm only at 8:00. You guys are way ahead of me.
Yeah, we're almost 11. Yeah.
See y'all next week.
All right.
All righty, cool. Thanks.
Maybe we'll have Jack Thomas on. Yeah, it's a cool guy. Like I said, he's 40 years old, but he sounds a little young. But he's full of life and energy, and races his car. And we were talking about the drums. Like, oh yeah, I always wanted to play the drums. I was like, oh man, I said you got to come on this show. I said, don't worry, man. We'll I said, yeah, we'll have a ball.
Awesome.
I said, you be in the backup rhythm section with Brian. I said, because I explained to everybody's background. I said, I swore Brian was a bass player. I said, but he tells me he's not. I said, so you can play with him for now. And
Nope, I'm Fred Flintstone.
yeah,
Two left thumbs, all 10 of them.
You always need a cowbell player.
Yep.
Yeah.
More
I
cowbell.
Tambourine.
More cowbell.
I always use a good cowbell player.
I was, there's some stuff on Instagram I've been seeing. These kids, there was a classroom. I should, if I see it again, I'll send it to you. There was this classroom of Chinese girls, all on they had like 30, 40 drum sets in this room, and they were all just playing a simple beat. And then they showed this one girl was on a much bigger kit in the front. She was like the leader, but they were all young girls, like young preteen Chinese girls, all playing drums. Like, wow.
I'm amazed at. I find these videos all the time for these kids that are like 7 years old.
Yeah, right.
And they're playing like YYZ from Rush.
Yeah, right.
Like, I can't even play that, know. And like, and I see that this kid, the sticks are too long. He's got like the shortest stick you can play, and they're still too big.
Yeah.
And he's like, he could just barely get to the bass pedal, yet he's doing triplets.
I saw something, John, tonight that will blow you away.
These kids, and I'm like, these kids are like 6, 7, 8 years old, and they're way better than I was when I was in my prime.
I saw something tonight. There was a guy, he was playing an electronic kit, and the thing that I noticed was he had no legs. He was just a torso on a drum throne.
Oh my God.
And he was playing. And then I said, wait a minute, but you can see the foot pedal moving on the bass drum. He had the leg of the stool on the foot pedal, so he was moving his body to work the foot pedal. And I'm thinking, if he can do that, how come I can't do a freaking simple pattern of like, in like 7/8? Why can't I do that? I got all my feet and hands, and I can't do that.
Yeah, I know. I see that stuff all the time. I'm totally amazed by these kids, or other people doing stuff. I'm like, my God, there's just so much raw talent out there.
Yeah. Total ability.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and this guy with no legs. I mean, I don't know if he was a drummer before he lost his legs, or who knows, but man.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Yeah, if I find him again, I'll send them to you. It was quite.
It's you sometimes you'll see a link for something, on Facebook, takes you to YouTube, and then I get lost.
Yeah.
I'm there for like 3 hours.
Right.
It's like that sidebar's always got something.
I know, always. Well, it's intuitive. It knows what you.
Well, like last night I watched. Oh, there's a really good video you need to go find. I think it's like 15 minutes long. It's another Elon Musk video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were telling me about that, right?
This one is Elon Musk, and it's not from that page that I told you to subscribe to, Everyday Astronaut. No, this is something else. And I saw it in I was watching somebody had a link on Facebook to something to do with drums, and then in the sidebar there was a thing, Elon Musk explains space travel. So I clicked on that after I watched it, and it's him sitting down with two people, and he's explaining, and the editing goes to snippets of video from his launches.
Yeah.
And he's explaining velocity and how you escape Earth orbit and he makes it. Sometimes he's a little difficult to follow because of his Asperger's, and his rhythms. Like he's in the middle of a sentence and then there's a gap. It's like almost to the point where it's like annoying you.
That's like listening to Uncle Tony when he's jumping back around in his train of consciousness, takes him back with his ADD. All right.
His demeanor and his what's going on between his brain and his mouth, his timing, and the way he spaces stuff out. It makes you tense and nervous a lot of times to listen to him.
Right?
Makes you uncomfortable. But he was explaining like the simple things. Like people think, well, you want to go to space, you launch the rocket, and you just go straight up.
No,
but that's not how you get to space.
Right. That just takes you up.
He said, if you notice, the rocket hangs over.
It has a yaw to it, right? Arcs.
Right. Yeah. It turns and it goes that way.
Right.
He says, and it goes at an angle, which lowers the pressure on the fuselage.
Yeah.
Makes it easier for the rocket to accelerate. And so he explained all of that, and then they asked him a question of why do your boosters, land on a barge in the middle of the ocean? So he was explaining that, well, the thing, it's so big and it costs X amount of money, and you don't want to use it once. You want to, and they did these animations. He goes, you have to look at it as it's like a giant pallet of money. He goes, and it's falling from the sky. Yeah. Do you want the wrapping that's around it to just disintegrate, and then the money is everywhere and it's absolutely useless?
Right.
He says, or do you want to grab that and hug it and keep it together?
Yeah.
So he said that's how we figured out. He says, because they're so expensive. He said, you don't want to destroy that thing. So he showed the logical way. He says, depending on what we're doing, he goes, you can't always get them to just turn around and come back to the launch site. He says, it's very rare that we do that. He goes, normally they wind up landing on the barge in the ocean. And really what he does is because it goes up this way, and then when it separates, they just flip.
Yeah.
And they keep going forward, now they're going backward, and they just bring it back down.
Right.
He says it's nothing but a big arc.
Yeah.
Because it's the simplest, most straightforward, least amount of mileage way to do it,
But it's rocket science.
Yeah. And he was talking about like terminal velocity and how much fuel it takes. It takes just as much fuel to turn that rocket engine around and bring it back as it does to put it up.
Yeah.
He said, so you have to calculate all of that, and that's why they only fire all the engines to flip it and slow it down. And then to control it, they just use one central engine.
Right.
He says, because you got to realize that the more fuel you have to use, the more weight that you have to shoot up, the more power you need. He goes, it's a constant, it's never ending.
Right.
He says it's a big giant compromise.
And there's no gas station in space.
No. So it's ridiculously interesting.
Yeah.
How much science this guy knows, yet you don't associate him with with space science.
Right.
So he's obviously very brilliant that he's able to absorb this stuff and he knows what he's talking about. Either that or he's a really awesome bullshitter and he's got me believing it,
I don't know. No, people have the ability for that. I know some guys at work who are like, they're like the physicists, theorists, and they do all the quantum analysis and all. I mean, they're just like on another plane. Yeah. Like they don't even think where we think. They start like somewhere, and yet some of these guys, many of them, you couldn't have a conversation with because you just like they don't come down out of that world. But a couple of them do. And those are the guys that are really cool to talk to because they can have a conversation with us, and then they can. It's just like what Joe D would do as a trainer. He would talk about scanner theory and engine diagnostics and engine management in a digital sense, but I always said he could always make an analog conversation out of something digital. He would present it to you in a way that you could actually grasp in your feeble little bit of a brain. And I don't mean by you, I mean any of us. But yet he's talking about the digital theory and like he'll feed it to you in this way that you're like a kid taking these like crumbs, like, okay, yeah, I got that, and they'll say, okay, well that's how a throttle body works, or that's how a mass airflow sensor works. He goes, now there's just the digital model, and
that's what I was like saying when Uncle Tony. When he's talking, some of those guys, they get a little sidetracked. It's like talking to your doctor. Sometimes they get a little sidetracked and they start blabbing on. You're like, dude, you gotta go back. Remember, I just know how to put on the Hello Kitty Band-Aid. You know what I'm saying? You gotta dumb it down a little.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Tony is a very analog guy. He's an analog guy in a digital world, without a doubt. So
that was funny that listening to him, and he was talking about, you guys asked him about his career and this, that, and everything else, and how he started. And he was talking about the magazines,
right?
And he mentioned Hot Cars.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, "Oh wow, my black Trans Am was in Hot Cars magazine."
Yeah. He wrote for Drag Weekly too. He wrote for a couple in New York. There was a lot of publications came out of Staten Island, and that's where he lived. Yeah. And he worked for a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in that magazine, and we actually did the whole photo shoot at Englishtown.
Yeah.
Sure. And I completely forgot about that. I have an issue of it up there.
A lot of guys use D-Town. Joe Oldham, who worked for Marty Shore from Motion, with all his publications, Vet, and he did what was the other one? Not Hot Cars. Cars. It was just Cars magazine. He did all his road tests at Englishtown. That was the place.
Real.
But
very cool.
Yeah. It's funny because now, like I said, he's also not. He says he's got serious ADD. He's a workaholic. He is, but you can't get in touch with him. It's like I got his phone number. It's like he doesn't take texts or emails. It's like you got to call him. But like a guy that's so busy, I'm always reluctant to call because I know he's going to be doing something. So I finally got I got his wife's number, and she does all his filming. So he puts content up every day, and she films everything. So she's with him all the time. So I finally got her number, and now I text her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Ray, whatever you want. Just let's." So I work with her. She's like the agent. I'm like, "Good." So that's what I said to him. I said, "Yeah, now I figured out how to get to you. I got Uncle Kathy's number." He's like, "Yeah, that's how to do it." He goes, "She'll just tell me where I got to be and when I got to be there."
That's awesome.
I'm like, okay, good. Yeah. Pretty funny.
I totally forgot about that, and then he mentioned it, and I'm like, Hot Cars. Yeah, I was in that magazine.
Yeah.
I thought that was.
I've yet to find any magazines in my collection that he wrote in. I know I got to have some somewhere. I just haven't found them yet. But so I haven't read any of his stuff. I can't imagine how he would write if he's got all the ADD going on. It must take him forever to write an article.
Right.
I know I did a lot of writing, and especially tech stuff. It's like if it was something I knew, it was like you're either sitting there and you got like 3 sentences and you're in the middle of a sentence at a word and you just sit there and stare at that for like hours. You just can't go further. There's just like no thought. There's nothing. Or I love when this happens. The shit comes out of your brain so fast, your fingers can't get it out fast enough. It's just just purges out of your brain. I've written 2,000 word articles in like a half hour.
Wow.
It's just like I couldn't type fast enough. Those are the ones I love. Those are the favorites.
Or when it all comes out and then you go back and it's just one big jumble. You got to kind of like then go back through and try to understand what you were really trying to say.
Well,
or
all kinds of tangents
like
and misspellings.
Well, yeah. You know what? My theory is pay no attention to that. Just get it out. Get content out. And then what I do is I go back and I will proofread and edit to death. Like I'm never done with an article. Someone has to tell me it's got to be due by 3:00 because then I'll finally be done with it. Otherwise, I'll always find something to change. I'm my own worst critic. What is that, Brian?
These are 35-inch hose clamp pliers.
Oh, cool. Yeah, the one with the hinge in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for taking out teeth.
These were
nice
to get those spring clamps.
Oh yeah.
These were. I mean, this was months ago when they came out, and I just got them.
Wow. It's like Christmas. What was that?
Huh?
What the hell was that?
Something just went through John's computer.
That was
you?
One of my neighbors.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
That thing's loud. What is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you're in the truck.
He's gone already. I mean,
cow. It sounded like he was doing right in front of you.
Yeah.
Right by the house.
We had some guys the other night I'm like a block off of Sunrise Highway, and there were like these Jap bikes on Sunrise the other night. It just must have been the posse out of Uniondale, because it was like wow, 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 wow. And then they went down and they must have come back the other way. It was like wow, 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 wow. I was like fighter jets, like Jesus.
I mean, I'm out in the tool truck. I mean, the door's open, but I mean, I'm sitting out in front of the house.
Loud.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. I hear the crickets.
Yeah, that's crickets. They're either crickets or tree frogs, one of the two.
Yeah.
I hear that. That's amazing. Good microphone.
Out in the wilderness. And we're not all happy like upstate New York or whatever.
No.
They're all happy up there.
Happy.
Yeah.
You got log cabins.
Yeah, we're not
pretty wild.
Yeah.
Farms.
We got too much.
We
got too much political bullshit. We got too much political bullshit around here to be happy.
Yeah, you're like living on the rim of the toilet.
Yeah,
right.
You know,
30 miles.
You're right outside dumping grounds.
30 miles.
I'm 30 miles from DC. I'm right outside the mushroom cloud.
Exactly. You're on the rim.
30 miles, I could be in Queens or Bayshore.
30 miles, I could be in DC or Baltimore. I'm right in the middle of both rims.
What a great pick.
Yeah.
30 miles,
Go
I could be in
south.
St. Pete on the water.
That's good.
Or I can be almost to Orlando.
All right.
Almost to Mickey Mouse land.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian, you got to go south.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
Yeah,
I mean,
man,
just
sounds
30
where
miles
it's at.
south. Just wherever.
So, yeah.
So I met with my HR rep, and I said, okay, what do I got to do when I want to retire? And she gave me this packet of papers, and she was, all right, well, you're going to be too young for Medicare. I'm like, yeah, I'll file next year. But so it's easy. I said, well, listen, this letter of resignation you're talking about, it's like, I don't have a date where I have. She goes, oh no, you can go whenever you. I said, well, I can just decide today that Friday I'm giving them a letter. I'm going to say, see ya, I'm out of here. She goes, yeah, technically. She goes, most people will give their department and some amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, it depends on what your relationship with them is. I'm like, yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. I said, I got time. I got to eat up and get, I'm going to get paid out for something. I got to eat up all the time. I said, so. But it's good to know I can do that whenever I want. So
that's good.
Yeah, next year. Next it'll be like May or June.
That was like my dad, when he retired, or when he put his papers in or getting ready to. He had something like 8 months of leave to get paid.
Yeah.
So, he's like, I go by, they live, part of my route. So I would stop by, middle of the day, and, there's mom and dad. They're all, one day I get there and dad's like, getting dressed up, in his work. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going into work." And I was like, "Okay, here we go." "Hey, Dad, you retired?" "Oh, no, today's officially my last day." And I said, "Well, that was like, 8 months ago or something." He goes, "Oh, that was all my leave and sick pay and vacation that they owed me. I wanted to make sure I got paid for it."
Right. Nice.
So he was off all that time. I was like, "God, man,
Nice.
crazy." So
Well, it's like I asked the woman. I said, "Well, listen, when I get paid out for that, it's a lump sum." I said, "I don't get killed on the taxes." She says, "Well, you can put it in like a 403B, which we have. It's to the school." I'm like, "I have one of those." She goes, "Yeah, it says here you do." I'm like, I don't remember. So I've been looking into that, and I found out. I talked to the financial guy. He says, "Well, yeah, you're over 55, so you can put in like 26,500. It's more than if you were under 55." I said, "Yeah, the problem is I'm going to have like triple that." I said, "Can I open 2 of them or 3 of them?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Well, you got to find me a loophole, dude. Find me a place." I said, "I'm going to get a box and put it in my backyard. I'm going to dig a hole."
that's when you gift. That's when you gotta gift it to somebody.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's like signing over your guns. Hold these for me. So,
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
now it's all the stuff. I said, "You got to excuse me. I've never done this before. It's the first time I've actually pulled the plug on my work career."
Yeah.
But I'm going to be happier. See, that's the thing.
Sure.
I'm going to be happier. Because all the work I do after that's going to be for cash. It's going to be like, you know what I mean?
Mama don't know.
Yeah. And it'll be what I want to do, when I want to do it, for who I want to do it for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
I got people calling me. They want me to do stuff. And I'm like, dude, I can't.
Oh, once the word gets out, yeah. Well, wait till you start putting up that video content. You're going to have people circling your house.
I don't want to.
I know, but you do good work. It's quality. You got a great history.
Trouble getting this one done, and then I got to start another one right after it.
Oh, you're going to be in great shape. You're going to be in prime shape. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but still, I just want to get them done and then just play with them.
Right.
Honestly, I don't want to work on anybody else's stuff.
You got to get a big sign for the door that says "Shop closed."
Exactly.
Go away.
Yeah. I'm having troubles at my other shop.
Really?
I'm overrun with daddy long legs spiders.
Oh, wow.
I mean, probably over 1,000 of them.
What eats
They're
them?
everywhere.
You got to find out what eats them.
I don't know.
Look it up. There's got to be something that eats them.
Yeah, I haven't done any real Google searching on it though. I went and bought, like bug spray.
Yeah.
That kills ants, and you spray it, and they they run, But then you come in the next day, and they're all shriveled up and dead.
Right.
But there's spider webs everywhere.
Wow.
I go to walk in the bathroom, I walk right into a spider
web.
It's like you knock the stuff down, and then it's back the next day. They went across the shelves where I've got all the aquarium boxes of aquarium supplies, pumps and filter pieces and all of that. And it's like you go up there and they're hanging out, and then they're in the corners of the wall. They're building webs, and then there's all those little pouches of, I guess, baby spiders.
Right.
And I'm like,
or it's what they caught. I mean, if they caught something, they spin them,
wrapped it up.
And they eat on it. I got this huge spider web.
All sizes, little tiny little babies to big Mac Daddy ones, and they're all daddy long legs. It's one species. And I saw a guy today that's an exterminating guy, and I'm like, I got a problem with, these daddy long legs. What's the best way to kill them? He showed me some sort of powder that you put on a brush, and you brush around by the webs, and it kills them. I wrote it down. I don't know. I never had that problem when I was in the other shop. For some reason, I have that problem in this shop. And I'm only 40 feet away from where I used to be. I don't get it.
It could be like a cyclical thing. Like this year, they're out.
Maybe it could be because of the weather. There's been a lot of rain and moisture.
Right.
It's like annoying as hell.
Yeah.
So But I went around and I went through a whole like gallon of that stuff. I mean, I was literally where the car is. They're like in the corners and on the wall, and I was like painting the wall with this stuff, you know. And then I'm like, I got to get out of here because I'm sure the fumes from this can't be good for you.
Prop 65.
Yep.
I'm sure that causes cancer. Spider cancer.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Something.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, that is odd.
So I gotta buy one of those brushes. He showed me this brush that telescopes. And I see the guy when he comes to my house. He uses it to clean around the eaves and the gutters.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure they're pretty easy to find. I probably can get it at Lowe's or Home Depot and just kill them and then brush them away.
Right.
And then
they put the powder or they put the spray on that brush and then they wipe it down. And then they wipe it down. When we used to have them when they did the deck here at the house for like keep from a wasp or bees, you know, making nest or whatever.
Yeah.
And you would see them and they would just sprinkle the stuff on there and then they would just wipe and clean up all underneath the deck, and that's how they applied all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me. So I guess I got to do that. He says you can get the stuff on Amazon. The powder.
Yeah,
I wrote it down. I forget the name of it.
I'm sure there's some secret spice, or in your you can walk around with garlic or something, John, and take care of those things.
I'm ready to tape off the tanks and the filter systems and put some bombs in the room, light them up, fog the whole building, kill off everything that's in there, you know, and then all that settles. You go back in and you ventilate it, pull all the plastic off the tanks. I'll have to wait until my holding tanks are at a minimum amount of fish, so I don't have to worry about it. Because like right now, there's probably about $4,000 worth of fish in the systems, stuff that we're holding for customers.
How much longer are you going to keep working?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to actually retire.
Okay.
I'll probably keep the business running and just have somebody managing it and just grab a piece of it every week.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Come in once in a while and, you know, say, okay, this, and this.
Right.
My wife's like, just keep it running.
Yeah.
She's like, what's the big deal? She goes, you know, you've cut back drastically on the amount of tanks you're already doing.
Yeah, you just have the right people because your name is on it. So.
Yeah. She says, just keep cutting back till finally you're not doing anything.
Right.
She says, and just keep that you know, money avenue rolling along.
That's nice.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, I know what I want to tell you, Brian. My sister-in-law went on a trip. She's in Germany right now. And her like Facebook pictures, it's like she's taking pictures of her and her kids, but the buildings are like epic. These giant stone, everything with like cathedral windows, breathtaking. The architecture that's in Germany. So I said, listen, swing by Stuttgart, bring me back a Porsche. Come on. Give me a 911. And she's, you know, the food pictures are just like out of this world. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting away just looking at the pictures. But then I'm looking at the restaurant with the heavy wood and the paneling, and wow, what a gorgeous place. It's if you like that kind of stuff, I do. It's wow.
Something, isn't it?
Man.
Yeah, Barb's been there. She said it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Wow. Unreal. Oof.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
All that stuff in Europe is amazing. And you figure how many times they've been through war and all that all that stuff and all that stuff's been there for, you know, some of the. Well, it's just it's kind of like up there in New York. You know, some of those places, the buildings have been around forever. You know, 100, 200 years or whatever. You know,
a lot of them have. Yeah, sure.
And the people are happy.
Well, the people are happy. Well, and the cool thing is, like up here in New York, even in New Jersey, like in Newark, most of those buildings, the churches and things, were all built by either Italian, Polish, German, all the Masons that were immigrants at the time that came here. And they built most of those buildings using the stuff in their own countries as the model.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful buildings. In fact, the problem is some of them now are in, like, Newark. It's in a slum.
Yeah.
The last time I was there, like, the churches were still kind of protected. Like, the gangsters weren't fooling with them.
Yeah. But like I said, that's the stuff is amazing that it's still, that stuff's been around for all, it's gone through everything and still there. And it's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty wild. I got this guy, Lewis Bloom. He was like the head announcer at Raceway Park. Then he got to working with NHRA, and he was on TV for years with NHRA. They call him a stat guy.
Yeah.
He used to compile all the statistics of all of the racers and the history of their winnings and records and the whole nine yards. And then NHRA went through some changes, and then they changed the TV package. So basically, they told Lewis, "We don't have a place for you." But he's like he's the most hardcore Springsteen fan in history because he's a Jersey guy and the whole nine yards.
Stack him up against Kim, I'll tell you that.
So he met this girl at a Springsteen concert. She's from Germany. And they hit it off, and they started this long-distance relationship, and he would go there, and she would come here, and he was living in California for a while when he was working for NHRA. And then he left America, got married, moved to Germany.
Wow.
He lives there now.
Hey.
He comes back here to visit once in a while. And he shoots. He's an unbelievable professional photographer, and he shoots some of the most amazing landscapes and little villages, and because he's like Evan.
Right.
He knows his way around the camera, you know what I'm saying? So he can take something that I would just aim and shoot, and it would be a picture of a door. But he knows about changing the shutter and the whole 9 yards to now he'll take that door picture that I would take on automatic, and he would make it a piece of artwork by just adjusting the aperture and the whole dot, and maybe changing the angle a little bit.
Yeah.
He's one of those kind of photographers. And the stuff that he posts on his Facebook page is amazing.
Yeah.
He's such a great guy.
Yeah.
Super nice. So he found his happiness in Germany.
That's one of the things I actually wrote an article about that, about how to do photography for like Instagram or whatever and websites. And one of the easiest things you can show someone how to do is just how to basically see through the camera and just look at what people are just like, they point and shoot. But the idea is when you look at something, if you see that thing in the way, if you just move 5 degrees the other way, that goes away. It's like now your picture is so much better. It's just spending a little bit of time. It's like when you're building something and you look at it and like, okay, I got to make this adjustment. It's the same thing, same idea, just with a camera. It's not hard to do.
It's all about composition.
Exactly. It's and then what it is like you learn your style of composition, what you like. Like there's this guy, Poli Pulvinen. Alana Scher introduced me to him. She sent me an email one day. She goes, "Listen, my friend Poli is going to be out in New York by you. Can he meet you one day? And like he wants to come to the radio station." And like, yeah. So I met him at the train station. He spent the day with me. I took him to the radio station, brought him to my house. I took him to All American Burger. So he's from Europe, but he's living in California. So I said, well, you got In-N-Out Burger, so I'm taking your All-American Burger. And he was like, oh, this is just as good as All-American In-N-Out. Yes, this is very good. So, and
should have fed him White Castles.
Yeah. So he puts up you got to have a special taste for that. But he puts up pictures all the time on Instagram. And his style is everything has to be, he goes for like bright, vivid colors. And he'll take like just a picture of just the rear wheel of a car, but it may have smoke coming off it. It could be just like a burnout. He gets that micro image, Like he doesn't go for the broad spectrum, and that's his style. So it's kind of cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, like Germany, 3 words that would make me want to go to Germany would be Wiener Schnitzel, that's 2 words, and strudel. That's the other one. A good German strudel is to die for. Oh my God. There's a German restaurant up in the Catskills. I go with my buddy Mike. He's got a house up there. And this German restaurant is as authentic as they come. And everything is, like from the old country. The food is off the chart. And the girls dress in like the dresses with the real Austrian looking kind of stuff. Hartmann's is the name of there was a deli in the Bavarian Manor. That's the name of the place, the Bavarian Manor.
Cool.
It's right up in it's in the German Catskills. So
there you go.
Yeah. Very, very cool. It's right by his house up there. So
I used to go up to the Catskills a lot when my father would go to these conventions.
Yeah, it's an easy ride. I mean, it's like 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah, up in the Borscht Belt over there.
Right, the Borscht Belt, yeah.
Yeah. We'd go to these conventions all the time because he was an audiologist and a professor at Hofstra, speech and hearing. So there was always these get-togethers, like we go to SEMA show, he would go to these things that had to do, and he'd be doing his deal, with hearing aids and audiometers and all of that shit all day long. Me and my sister and my mother, we'd be at the pool.
Yeah.
We'd be going here, going there. I was like, wow, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice place, but all of those places are all gone now.
Catching the Shecky Green show and
Yeah.
Jackie Mason. Oh,
I remember there was one place that we went to, Kissinger's, I think.
There's Kuchner's.
Yeah, right? Something
like that. Yeah.
And the hell was that?
Like a tuba.
Yeah.
I was one of those Cooner guys.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And this one place that we would go to that starts with a K.
Yeah.
They had Cousin Brucey would be there like all the time.
Oh, wow.
Like on the weekends.
Right.
They would, I guess they paid him.
Oh,
It was actually like the Cousin Brucey room. It was a little, it was like a little cabaret.
Right.
With a stage, they do comedy and the whole deal. And Cousin Brucey, and I'd seen that dude live, and then I would hear him on the radio.
He's still doing a serious show.
Yeah.
In fact, Rob Leonard does the show before me, is working in the city, and he's engineering Brucey's show. So he was saying, they were just talking about that just the other day, how Brucey gave him a nod to something. I don't know what that was. He's still working. Guy is going to work till he drops. He's going to drop the console.
He's old too.
He is. And Kim is such a Springsteen fan. She met him. She went out to like the Hamptons because his daughter rides competitively horses. And there's a picture of her in the studio with him, with his arm around her. She's like, ah. But she got him to sign something. I think she had him sign her arm, and then she went and got it tattooed over it. So she's got his signature tattooed. You don't get much more hardcore than that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember going to those places. It was weird.
Yeah.
They had one of them had a huge ice skating rink.
Oh.
You'd be there in July.
Yeah.
You go ice skating, and then 10 minutes later, you're in the pool.
Right.
Being a kid and playing in those places was awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That was fun.
And the food, endless food.
Oh, yeah. The buffets were crazy.
Yeah.
I remember that. All of that stuff. Yeah. And then I read, oh, my God, there's a Facebook page about Huntington.
Uh-huh.
All about Huntington. And people are always posting stuff. And they posted a big picture and then some aerial stuff of this place called Coindra Hall, which is up in Huntington Manor. It's like right on the water in Huntington Harbor. And I went there as a kid for summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
It's this huge estate, like a couple of 100 acres with buildings and stuff.
Wow.
And they had this tremendous driveway that, from the street, you'd come in a couple of 100 feet, and then it was like a giant oval with huge oak trees in the middle, and you'd pull up right to the front of this mansion, and they had go-karts.
Oh wow!
And we used to race the go-karts on that. That was like one of the things you did when you went to summer camp is,
Right.
2:00, your guys are going go-kart racing.
Yeah.
And that was the best because it was like crushed bluestone.
Oh wow!
The driveway, it wasn't paved; it was paved with crushed bluestone. So you could kick the back end out on it. I was a maniac on those things. And then they had you go down the hill. There was this huge pond that was fed by a natural spring.
Right.
And the water came in on one end and went out on the other end into Huntington Harbor. The water was always cold. And the first thing in the morning, my group had to go for the morning swim. It was horrible. The thing was always so cold. But then you go a little further, and they had docks there, and they had a boathouse, and they had like 8 Boston whalers. And we would go boating. The counselor would drive the boat, and you'd go to Sand City. I don't know if you ever heard of that place. Sand City it's a kind of peninsula that sticks out on the Ashroken side of Huntington.
Okay.
And years and years ago, I think like during World War II or something, there was a concrete factory there.
Okay.
And now it's a ruin, and it's the beach erosion has put the factory in the water. And this was way, way, way before I was even like old enough to venture out there, So it's been like that for, I don't know, 50 years or so. But they'd go to Sand City and we'd go tooting around. You'd go fishing. It was the most awesome camp that I ever went to.
Wow.
And it was run by some Franciscan monks. So now the town got deeded the property and they're bulldozing it.
Oh wow.
And there's a lot of history in this mansion. It's a big, huge mansion, They're making it into some kind of park or something like that, and they're just getting rid of all of the buildings on the property. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, I thought it was really shitty that they're doing something like that.
Yeah.
Urban renewal.
Well, in the name of progress, I'll probably make an encampment for the visitors.
Yeah, right. The permanent visitors.
Right. All right. Before we get started again,
you just gotta laugh. Other countries just must be laughing.
I think they are. Yes.
They have no immigration policy. It's like, yeah, just come.
Right.
It's okay. We don't care who you are. Just come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, all in the guise of we're a humanity-driven country. We
come to our borders. Everything's open.
Yeah, we care about you. We want to
We'll
help.
Feed you. We'll give you snap cards. We'll give you whatever you want.
Yeah, that's it. And Johnny will pay for it all with his taxes.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Unreal.
Ridiculous.
All right. So maybe next week we'll have Jack on from R1 Concepts. Talk about some high performance brakes.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll see if Lewis gets a hold of him, and we'll. If not, I'll have him on like a week or two later on a radio show. And we'll do that.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so for Lewis Lee, you got the Madman across the water, Chassis Impresario, Chassis John, Aluminum Maven, Welding Wizard, Clico Champ.
Love my Clicos.
Yeah. Joe Klecko likes his Clicos too.
Yeah, right. Big football game Sunday coming up.
Who's playing?
We're playing. Bucks are playing against. What are we playing against? L.A.
Oh,
Raiders.
The Raiders. Wow,
no, not the Raiders.
Okay.
Who the hell are we playing against? San Francisco. Whoever we're playing against has the same record as 2-0.
Okay. It's early yet.
They say it's gonna be the game of the day. It starts at like 4 or 4:30.
Better get off that boat.
The two
Nice early.
two top teams
Yeah.
are gonna play each other, and one of them's not gonna be 3. One of them's gonna be 3-0, and one of them's gonna be 2-1.
Right. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose.
That's it.
All right.
They're all raving about Brady's having a
Yeah, I
good
know.
year so far.
They're talking about that.
I'm like
here, too.
2 games. It's 2 games.
I know. So bringing up the bottom end, we got Matt Man Brian sitting there in the tool truck, making it real, playing with the pliers, getting everything ready for tomorrow.
Get ready to run those charges.
Yeah, get that toolbox delivered. Hopefully the rain doesn't wash us out too bad. I got thunder and lightning out the window now. So we'll see what happens.
It was bad. It was a wet day.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought it was bad when I used to turn wrenches and you had the rain, bring in the car and it drips all over you.
Yeah.
No, the worst is in the wintertime.
The snow.
Snow. Oh yeah, I hate it all.
The ice.
Then I became a tool man. You got to walk around in that shit all day. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Good choice.
Nobody wants to come out to the truck. So it's like you go in and it's like, hey, do you have this? Yeah, why don't you come out and take a look? Oh, no, why don't you just bring it in? I don't want to get wet. And you're like, God.
Drive the truck into the shop. Tell them open the door.
Yeah, we don't. My shops aren't that big.
Oh.
I only have 1 or 2 where I could possibly do it, and they would have a cow.
Yeah.
That's the worst part about living in the Northeast there with, that snow and it's horrible because the door is shut in the shop. Because I remember I used to work for Country Lincoln Mercury.
Okay.
And in the wintertime, it's just horrible. They want to keep the door shut to keep the heat in. You got cars that are starting up and shutting off and starting up and shutting off. So the place is full of exhaust fumes.
Yeah.
They bring the car in. It's got snow packed up in the wheel wells and up in the suspension. And you're underneath the car, and then the pieces are falling.
Yeah.
The snow's falling out. There's water everywhere, and it's always black.
Yeah.
So that, and then the porter keeps coming by with the squeegee, and he's squeegeeing the water into the drains in the floor, and it's just a mess. Stuff is cold, the tools in your box, they're freezing.
You got to get the comfort grips.
I hate the winter.
It's like Lou Reed said, pure as the driven slush.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I was a young lad and I worked at my first shop, it was outdoors.
Wow.
So you brought a shovel and cleared your spot off, and that's where you worked. I can't tell you how many times I had a wrench stuck to my hand. It would freeze to it because it was terrible.
That's no way to work.
And it was funny because when I went to the dealership, the guy that was the service manager knew where I came from, and he would have these guys all in the lunch break room sipping on coffee, bitching about how cold it was, and he would just look at me and says, "You have no idea. Talk to Brian about cold. You want to talk about cold." But man, we had one lift outside. The place was built in 1946.
Wow.
And it was one of the first hydraulic outdoor lifts that was ever put in. That, and it only went up to about like 4.5 feet. So the whole time, when you did work on it, you were like laying down working on this thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell. Man, when my movie comes out and I have that episode of working outside, you'd never believe it, dude.
Right.
You drop something in the snow, you just kind of took a photograph picture of the memory, and said, "I'll look in spring," because that's where it would be. You weren't digging around in the snow.
Find it when it thaws.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to go do some work laying down too, but it's going to be in a soft bed with a pillow.
There you go.
All right, guys.
All right, fellas. Till next week, we'll end this episode of Playing in Traffic with the tiresome trio, or the tired trio, whatever you want to call us.